Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
I didn't sign up for this.
all right. What? Just steal all of my fun, why don't you? All right, what's up, chat? Welcome to another episode of the Writers and Weebs podcast. Or is it Weebs and Writers? No, it's Writers and Weebs.
It's Writers and Weebs.
We unofficially refer to it as the Star Fox podcast because Nintendo is the thing that owns the...
I don't think anyone is crazy enough to go through the podcasts and count the bounces, Zephyric, unless that's you.
Like, it is Nintendo that actually owns Star Fox, right?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, so I just don't want to deal with them coming after us by us officially using that name because
Nintendo.
For some reason they would probably I don't know. I just don't want a Monster Can Energy problem where they're like, "Oh, you're using a similar name even though we're two completely different products."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, cuz that's fun. But you use Hogwarts. Shush. I don't care about that.
It's like the guys who wanted to copyright React content.
Yeah. In any case,
good shit. Good times.
Honestly, we should probably redo this intro so I don't include all that, because now it's like, that's a pretty good point, Zephyric. Look, I needed a picture of a random castle, okay? I needed a picture of a random castle.
Let's commission one.
In any case, moving on to more important news. All right, so today's episode is the writers who don't write. This is a topic
us.
This is the topic that I am bringing to us because Star had last week's topic, which means she has to come up with next week's topic.
Oh, great.
Oh man. So last week
there's one topic I want to do, but we can't do it yet because neither of us have finished Persona 4.
I still gotta finish Persona 3. I still gotta start Persona 3. What are you talking about? Why are you already on this?
So true, bestie.
Oh man. In any case, guys, so last week we were doing romance in media, and during all of that we came up with like 7 different topics, I think. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I like the topic of us talking about writing, even though neither of us writes anything in the last few months.
That's not true.
Oh, that we had that writing stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what? We did some writing.
We write, just not all the time.
Oh man, yeah, it's just writing's tough, guys.
Writing is so hard.
So I thought it would be interesting to go through this. Oh, by the way, I guess I never introduced who we were. My bad. I am, of course, the host. Well, co-host, technically, but host because this is on my channel.
We're both the hosts.
Yes, we're both hosts. I am FGRolls, also known as Fox Gaming, also known as the loser that somehow got suckered into playing Persona games. And this is my co-host, the one who is the one that suckered me.
I'm the one who suckered him into playing Persona games.
You want to say your name?
Hi, I'm Star, also known as Starly120. I'm the one who suckered him into playing Persona games.
You guys can find her at twitch.tv/Starly120. You can also find her at youtube.com/@Starly120.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know how to plug her socials.
I don't know how to plug myself.
And I don't know how to do like the social stickers on the YouTube videos.
It's okay. It's fine.
I'm learning.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go along, you know?
I had more of a writhing stream. That is true. That was painful. In any case, so for today's topic, we will be talking. I would like primarily for it to be a talk about our experiences with writing, like what are our own personal struggles. But we're going to start off with something very easy because I think this is a fun topic. So, how did each of us get started with writing?
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up.
Yes. So, which one of us goes first? So, like, I could be like asking you, so it starts with you, or do you want me to go first?
I don't mind either way. If you want to go first, you can.
Okay, we're gonna make it kind of like interview style, where like since I brought the topic, we're gonna start off with you introducing, with you answering. So how did you
Okay.
get started with writing?
I've always been interested in storytelling.
Okay.
I would, I've had a vivid imagination my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if I did do any story writing before.
I'm sure you did. You just don't
No, no,
remember.
no, 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 no. I before I got into the My Little Pony fandom.
Which you can find
But
that.
that's where I did most of my story writing with my OC, and my at the time boyfriend's OC. I would write stories about them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was more or less one of the prototypes for A Tale of One Shadow.
Which you guys can find at an archive of our own.
Yes. Um and
Link in the
um
description.
and then I moved on to like I had a couple of short story ideas. I took a couple of writer's craft courses in high school where I would
Oh,
just
that
work
is so
on.
lucky.
Yeah,
We didn't have anything like that in my high school.
I was working mostly on A Tale of One Shadow and its sequel, which is why I have way more written for the sequel than I do the actual story.
Oh
Um,
man, isn't that just how it
because
goes?
yeah, it was something that I could work on, um, and not really give much context to the story, right? Because it's just it
Because
follows
you
completely
haven't built the
different
original,
characters.
so it's like you can just kind of
Yeah,
mess around in the second and come back when you actually get
yeah.
there.
So I feel that working on the sequel first has helped me a lot with writing the original. But anyways, I've always been like an avid daydreamer, I really wanted to write stories. I liked watching movies, reading books, all that kind of stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
still love reading books.
Apparently not watching movies though.
I don't watch a lot of movies anymore.
That's fair. Like I definitely don't. As I've gotten further and further into like anime and stuff. Like
Yeah, I watch more anime than I do just normal ass
yeah.
Western
You
movies.
ever find that that really shows in like the way you like write your story,
Yes.
where it's like you feel it's all visual?
Yes, it's always visual in my head, and I think that's probably why getting it down onto paper is the hardest part.
Yes, especially like fight scenes because you can see it in your mind's eye. The
Yes.
epicness of like the power-ups if they exist, the characters like launching flames at each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
How about you? How did you get into
Okay.
writing?
Before we go on to me, I'm gonna go back to
Oh,
something
okay.
you said where you said that you didn't think you were very much into like story crafting earlier on in your life.
Yeah.
Very possible. When I was saying that that you don't remember is like you might have done something prior and you just don't remember it. Like I recently discovered, and like this isn't something like where I was talking to my parents about this podcast thing, which is like I don't talk to them about it because they don't really get it. It would be interesting to hear what their opinion would be if I said I was doing this. They know I stream and stuff,
Yeah.
but while I was like, it's not anything I learned from them. I was just like out for a walk one day and I started thinking about this podcast. Like, what are the topics I wanted to discuss? And this being one of them. I had a flashback moment. I realized there are probably two core memories that developed that allowed me to realize I wanted to be a writer. Where I was
Mhm.
like, writing is like something I want to do. And the one that is the primary core memory that I have the most attachment to is in middle school. So, have you ever heard of Seedlings? Like the writers competition?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, there was like this scholastic competition where, and it might just be an American thing, where all across high schools, middle schools, they would all be petitioned to have the kids from the English classes write stories, poems, essays, all kinds of different types of all different types of literary works, basically. And
Mhm.
the people who got selected would all be put into a book. Like
Oh.
their works would be put into a published work. And I don't know anything other than that. I just know that it would affect, basically start them off in a publishing journey, which is really cool.
Yeah, that is.
So my English teacher at the time, I believe this was 7th grade, told us that we needed to write something. We were given options. We could write a poem. Interestingly enough, I did get into poetry at sometime after.
I was never good at poetry.
Ooh, I love poetry, but it's like I do not write poetry like other people do. It's like I love free form, so there's not much rhyming scheme or anything like that.
Mhm.
I mostly wrote it as song lyrics, if you want me to be honest. But
Yeah.
I just I don't know why. I actually had sessions where I would like in my story, there one of the characters would like I had one character who actually wrote a song during the course of the story, and I thought it was awesome. But back
That's
to
cute.
back to the core memory though.
Yeah.
So my teacher told us to write anything we wanted. I chose a short story. Now, she did not give us any kind of requirements for the story. I'm guessing because this was middle school and she knew that we don't really like to do like the maximum work or anything like that. She's probably read our essays
Mhm.
and like she didn't tell us anything. But apparently there was like a 500 or 1,000 word limit. I don't know. I think it was 500 words. I show up a week later to turn it in, and I had written a 10-page short story at 7th grade. I turned it in, and I found out later that I could not actually submit that because I was above the word requirements.
Mhm.
And I only found out because I was talking to the person in charge of getting those for our school. Because I was kind of curious, like, I guess I wanted to know if it would actually be submitted for the competition because we weren't being told.
Mhm.
So I was curious, and she said, no, because you went over. I was like, oh, that sucks. But
I also just had a fucking childhood memory unlock, and
ooh,
I'll talk about it after you're done here.
okay. Um, and so I was like, yeah, that was a little disappointing, but I had so much fun writing that story that I was like, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep writing. I want to keep making stuff. And that is effectively what happened. I was like, and I kept going through that all through high school. Even now, it's like I still want to write. It's just finding the time to do it.
Yeah. Finding the time is the hardest part,
Yeah. Which
when
most people disagree, but
we
it's just.
especially when we stream for 8 hours a
Yes.
day.
Oh my god. But the real core memory that I had forgotten about that really pushes home how much I like. You know how we joked about I knew things about myself before I actually knew them, like the demi-romantic thing. I made a joke that my favorite color is green, which is one of the main colors for
Yeah.
demi-romantic.
Yeah.
And I thought back to it and I was like, holy shit, because I unlocked a memory that made me realize I have always loved crafting stories. Because I remember as a kid, like a young, very young memory, going to my parents, showing them up, like going to my mom, because I had these books. Like, you know, Dr. Seuss sized books of Disney movies, like The Lion King or something. Just like
Yeah, yeah,
dumbing
yeah.
it down for little kids in a book form.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And I remember going to my mom with a page just because at this stage I could not write because this was before I officially started school. So I
Mhm.
didn't know how to write. And so it was just a page with squiggly lines, and I pretended that I wrote my own Lion King story.
That's cute.
And I was like, when I
That
unlocked
is
that memory,
wonderful.
I'm like, shit, I have always wanted to do this.
I just unlocked a memory from my childhood, and it was kind of like comics, sort of. I was very
Ooh.
young. I was very young, and it wasn't really like a comic. It was like one page would be one drawing, one page would be the next drawing.
That's still technically a comic of some sort.
Yeah. So it was there were 3 characters, and I remember their names, but I don't remember any of the misadventures we did with them because it was me and it was 2 of my childhood best friends.
Okay.
Um, their names were Jimmy, Jenny, and John. And the only reason why I still remember these characters is because that's what I named the elemental monkeys in Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
Simi Sage is Jimmy,
Aw.
Simi Poor is Jenny, and then Seer is John. And I remember having one of them. I
Why you
drew
gotta
them
do
in
that
the
to us, Johns? My name's not
start
even
with
John.
start with the funny monkey business. Yeah.
Yep.
No, these were just 3 children. And I don't remember any of the misadventures that we drew them on. But I do remember one where one of them
Why can I easily see, like, I can easily picture, like, picking up a book and it's saying The Misadventures of Jimmy, Jenny, and John.
Jenny and John. One of them was in the womb playing cards with a sperm.
In the womb?
Yeah.
I'm
Funniest
sorry.
shit.
What?
I have no idea what was going on with me when I was younger, but holy
How old
shit.
is this memory?
Did they at least win? I think so. They may have. I don't know, probably like 4 or 5.
Okay, I was about to say, if you told me that you did this when you were like 7 or 8, I was gonna be like, how did you have a concept for the word womb?
How would I know what a sperm is?
I don't know. I didn't realize that a sperm was involved.
Yeah.
Wait,
No, it would have been 6, wouldn't it? Because we got sex ed in grade 6, I think. I don't know. I don't remember. Would
wait.
it
Oh,
have guns
hold on.
in
I
them?
might have
That is
misheard you
true.
earlier. I thought you said they were playing cards with a Smurf.
No,
Did you say they were
that's
playing cards with a sperm cell?
yeah, in the womb.
Was it the character or just the egg? Being
The
like, all right,
character.
look, I gotta win. Look, we're
He
gonna
was
we're gonna
he
play
had
a
a
hand
he
of
had an
cards.
umbilical cord. He was attached, and he just had cards. He had playing cards in the womb. Just
Wow. Okay.
so I mean, I've always had such a vast imagination.
Yeah, I see
Um,
that.
the misadventures of Jimmy, Jenny, and John are anything to go by.
I feel like in about a year, I'm gonna just suddenly run across this on your AO3 page.
Yeah, and like, cause we were young, we drew like the two boys as like just bald headed stick figures, but Jenny, she had a curl.
That is much. Deadly Nepsol, is that not just Darling in the Franks? I've never actually seen that anime, but I'm like, isn't that just it? You were 5? What? Okay, okay. I am truly in the
Yo.
chat with Dgens.
Hey, yo.
Oh man. All right, all right. But yeah, so those were our core memories for writing. I think it's very fascinating to see like where we all start out
I
from.
wouldn't say that was writing, more or less storytelling, for sure.
True,
I
but
don't
storytelling
recall.
ultimately is told through writing, so.
That's true. That's true. I
But-
definitely might have some notebooks
Yeah.
around here where I wrote things.
But
I don't
Fox,
remember.
what about movies? That's not writing. Well, someone's got to write a script first.
God, you sounded like Baldi's Basics in Education and Learning.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. Are you gonna come whack me with a ruler?
No. I think it's funny. Like, I'm not even trying to do a voice, but I can do voice acting so much better when I'm not trying.
By that logic, the unborn child has the mental capacity of a preteen to be able to play cards. He was a very smart child, yes.
And then he was born, and then he got dumb as bricks.
Yeah, exactly. We're only intelligent in the womb, and then we're born.
We make that first mistake.
Being born.
Yeah. Okay, I really don't want to say shit like that, just in case it triggers anybody, but just to let you guys know, that was a joke.
That was a joke. Don't worry about it.
All right, so, but yeah, it's like overall, it's like writing filters more into storytelling. Like, even if we say it's like, okay, well, there's acting, there are a ton of jobs, but those all have to start with writing because you need to create direction.
Yeah.
And you can't just sit there and be like, all right, I need you to go over this, I need you to do something like this. You can, but you need a base, especially to inform a whole group of people, and that always starts with the writing. So no matter what, storytelling's main core will always be writing.
And yeah, so I guess my storytelling started off mostly through drawings and then like transitioned into writing.
Yeah.
But
Star
it's
wanted to be a
always
manga artist.
it's always been there, you know? Like I wouldn't say
Yeah.
manga artist. I
I
don't
wanted
know
to be
what I
one.
wanted. I don't know what I wanted to be.
I
I didn't that's still kind of like why I'm still just sitting here being a streamer instead, because like I had no
Yeah.
idea what I wanted to be, and
Well, you know
the
you want to be a
pressure I felt.
writer.
Yeah, well now I know I want to be a writer, but
Yeah.
you know, that's not much of a
It's
career when you're
a
first
lot like
starting off.
streaming in that regard, where it's like, you know you want to do it, but you never know like what's it gonna be that makes you successful at it.
Yeah.
Like, you have
And
it in your
like
head, you start it.
especially if you're like especially if you're a small writer,
Uh-huh.
when you bring your manuscript to a publisher and they turn you away because this won't sell, and then you get
Oh
disheartened and
my
you quit,
god.
right? Um
Yeah. I remember
and
in high school, I remember doing hours of research into publication, and it was like, sometimes I would just want to stop and give up because I would be like, this publication process is so terrifying.
yeah, and the fact that shitty fucking One Direction fan fiction can get published, but like most actual unique stories with lots of depth and character and love crafted into them can't, is like it really says a lot about our society.
It says a lot about, like, because in the end, it's like, writing is, obviously we understand this as people who do create, we understand this both in content creation and in writing, is that these
Mhm.
are businesses
Yeah.
and they want to make money. So like, no surprise, a fan fiction that is very popular can get published. There are actually
Mhm.
two examples of this. What is it, 50 Shades of Grey?
50 Shades of Grey
uh
and the After series.
yeah, Star, you might want to speak up. We can barely hear you.
50 Shades of Grey and the After series.
Ah, okay.
Hold on, let me turn up my mic.
The other one that I was thinking of,
Let me know if that's better.
yeah, that's better.
Okay.
The main one that I was personally thinking of was, there was a story, obviously you're not going to like hearing this, it was a Harry Potter fan fiction that
Ugh.
tries to use science to explain magic. Which is like, I don't really like that, because it's like, magic should be magic and science should be science.
Yeah, if you're trying to explain magic using science, then I think you're
There's a lot of anime
dead.
that do it, and sometimes they do it very well, but I don't like it when magic is basically just science. Like,
I like it when science is science.
yeah, like, good example of this is Wiseman's grandchild. I didn't like the fact that it was like all of his magical powers were basically just science. Like, dude could create a hydrogen bomb. It was like, why?
I like that Full Metal
Also, how does a
Alchemist
businessman just
feels
know how to build a hydrogen bomb?
I like that Full Metal Alchemist feels more real because it's rooted in science rather than
Yes.
magic, right?
Yes. Like, it
Um,
is still fundamentally a magic system. We've had that argument before.
yes,
But it's like, it
but
doesn't feel like magic
it doesn't
because
feel like magic because they use science.
because there's actual explanations. Like, we understand they can't do something without a coexisting source.
Yeah. Anyway, back to writing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is still a part of writing. We're explaining magic systems, of course.
Yeah.
Because it isn't magic, it is alchemy, but it is still a magic system. Anything that no matter what, every story possesses a magic system. If there is no magic, that is still technically the magic system. That is the rule in which the world works.
Whoa.
Sorry, that's basically how it works. The rule of that world is that there is no magic.
No
So
magic.
everything and everyone is a normal person. So if you suddenly have a
Okay.
character be like, okay, I have magic, that breaks all the fundamental rules.
All right. So
Well, we talked
next
about
question.
yeah, this one's yours. So I guess that
Oh,
means
it's mine.
yeah, it's your question,
Oh boy. Okay.
which means I'll have to answer.
What was the first story you wrote?
Oh, so you so I get to go into that story that I just talked about for the school. All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah. My first ever story is also like probably my 6th, 7th, and 15th story as well. Because I have rewritten that one story so many times.
Rehashing that one, eh?
Yes, actually. In fact, you've heard me rehashing it. The story with Lucian in it was originally based off of this story that I'm about to talk about.
All right. Okay.
All right, so the story was Arrow the New Warrior. I was in like 7th grade when I came up with that title. Definitely not as creative as the misadventures of Jimmy, Jenny, and John.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Something hits different about Jimmy, Jenny, and John.
Yeah, it really does. I would love to read that. Can I get that story?
One of them played cards in the womb.
Yo, can we get somebody to animate that?
I would love to.
Oh man.
Oh,
All right. So my first ever story was Arrow the New Warrior. I wrote it for my middle school class. And at then it was just pretty bare bones. I don't really remember much of what that story was because when I really started writing it and making it into something, I had gone home. I told my mom I wanted to be a writer, so she started letting me get onto the computer a lot more to do that writing. And she ended up helping me with it. I've told you this about it. The book that me and her worked on together that eventually I gave up on because my brain started coming up with other stories and she sort of took over.
Mm-hmm.
The story was basically about 2 characters. The first, of course, being Arrow. That is spelled A-I-R-O-W. I'm going to have to spell that out on the edit. Because I'm going to be real here. I was like, medieval story. And I started thinking of books that were basically based around that time. And and my favorite book at the time was Aragon.
Mm-hmm.
So
the one with the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then even though I had never read Lord of the Rings, I also knew the character Aragorn. I was like, both of these names sound really cool. I want something kind of similar. But I basically was like, all right, I'm going to call him Arrow. Like the actual bow and arrow, but I didn't want it to spell as arrow, so I went with air. Oh.
It reminds me of one of my friends. I'm gonna throw shade without throwing shade. We were working on a
Gone.
We were working on a comic, like my entire group and we were working on a comic together.
Ooh.
And she made a character for, I don't remember if this was actually where the character originated from.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember that she made the character, and the character's name is Robin, spelt raw bean.
It's like we just like that's. I will not lie. That is like a very classical naming convention where I'll take something that is normal and just mess with it.
Yeah.
But I started taking actual names, like Kyle becomes Kyle, like Kaiyel.
Ah.
Like
I mean,
just,
I get it. It's like a
it makes it sound more fantasy-like,
right? Yeah, I can definitely get that.
So like that
it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying when like Zoomer parents do that.
Oh man, I was like, that was always my goal, is like to make it sound more fancy. In any case, you had Arrow, who was the son of a nobleman. But he was ultimately kidnapped by some other guy. I don't know how to fully explain this story because it's like, it's been years since I've dealt with this version.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird because my mom and I made it so convoluted. You had Arrow, who was the son of Lord Dominic, because I had to give him the dominant sounding name.
Dominic.
Dominic, of course, ran the town of... Oh my god. Thinking about this name.
Tell me.
Dragano.
Dragano.
Yeah. Which, in any case, Dragano had, like, kind of almost 2 levels of everything, because, you know, every town has, like, the richer portion and the poorer portion, basically. The fact that you spelled that correct on the first try, Deadly Nepsol, makes me just want to hit myself. I'm gonna be real.
He's nuts.
Oh my god. In any case, then you had kind of his Dominic's opposition, Ethan. I don't know why.
Oh, Ethan.
Yeah.
Is Ethan the villain?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
I also have a villain named Ethan. Let's go.
We're sharing brain cells again. So Ethan was it's kind of a lesser noble. Like there's tiers of it. I don't know why I made it tiers and not just one ultimate ruling lord with like subjects, but don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So Ethan wanted Dominic to train his son, and when Dominic refused, because quite honestly, Ethan's a dick and he had no real reason to.
I wouldn't trust Ethan with my son.
Yeah. You know, Ethan felt slighted, so in revenge, he hired bandits to murder Dominic's wife and son.
Wow. Damn, Ethan. Why you gotta be like that, bro?
Because he's a dick.
Yeah.
And in any case, they succeeded in killing the wife. They did not succeed in killing the son.
That poor wife.
Yeah. Women die in my stories. That is such a poor way to put that.
I mean, everyone dies in my stories.
True.
I don't discriminate.
True. So, reason that they didn't kill Arrow is that Arrow possessed legendary magic, which, oh my god. He possessed wolf magic.
Did they have anime mom hair?
I don't fucking know. So, the wolf magic protected him and slaughtered all the bandits. So Ethan shows up in the alleyway where all this was going down because for some reason he was there to watch it. I don't know why.
He was there to watch but not do it himself. What a fucking
exactly.
pussy.
So he's like, well, shit, I can't kill this kid, and well, my revenge is only half complete because, oh, hey, you didn't just completely wreck this guy's life by murdering his wife, who he loved very much.
Mm-hmm.
So he took the baby and raised him himself. Obviously abusive jerk, but that's beside the point.
How nice.
Yes.
How nice of Ethan.
So Arrow would eventually go on adventures with his best friend and eventual love interest, Jade.
Oh no! You have a Jade too!
Yes!
God damn it!
Why? Oh, man.
Fuck?
So, like, Arrow and Jade's eventual goal is they want to be, like, knights. But, of course, there's the very standard sexism of the time, you know, women can't be knights.
Mm-hmm.
So, while Arrow goes to the super elite school to become a knight, well, technically, you know, and also potentially learn magic, blah, 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 Jade decides to sneak in by disguising herself as a boy.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah, it very much was an amalgamation of just about 50% of the stories that I had ever read.
Colin, technically, my character's name is Jade Lynn, Jadelyn, but she goes by Jade for short.
Yep.
So technically,
I'm just saying yep because
her name is technically her name is Jadelyn, but you know.
Yep. Yeah, everyone accusing me of being like, isn't this just Joan of Arc? And it's like, yep.
There's a lot of stories with cross-dressing women because women weren't allowed to do anything.
Yep. I just don't know how else to go into that. It's like, that's basically what the story was. It was all about their adventures, them eventually getting together, settling down to have kids. Their whole family gets murdered.
What?
And then that's when the sequel of the story starts, with hundreds of years later, where it turns out their you know, there's someone proclaiming to be their child that was sealed in time.
Oh.
Actually, turns out that that's not who the villain of the story is, because the child ends up being considered the villain because he's like, no, screw this world that exists now, only after you guys betrayed and killed my parents. Actually, I don't remember all of it. I just remembered, like, the plot twist was he wasn't actually their kid. He was just somebody with similar powers that someone tricked, and that one of the other characters was the actual child.
Oh.
That
actually sounds like an interesting twist.
Yeah. It was like you would have basically two other characters fighting, and they're both dudes, obviously, and it would actually turn out that Arrow and Jade never had a son at all. They had a daughter. And she's been a part of the story all along.
Hey, yo.
Oh man.
That would have been a really cool read.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much my first ever story. Yes. Oh no, the Child of Prophecy was not the Child of Prophecy, but just a child of similar prowess. Yep. Even back then, I had a love for convoluted stories. I just did them.
Yep.
All right, Star, your first story.
My first story.
Yes.
Okay, that wasn't the Misadventures of Jimmy, Jenny, and John.
Man, I want to read that. I just gotta know what kind of misadventures they got up to.
I'll see if I can fucking track something down, but you know, it was when I was really young, so it's probably gone to the fucking...
Just rewrite it from memory.
Oh yeah, just rewrite it. I don't remember anything except that Jenny had a curl on her bald head.
Why was she bald?
No, they were all bald because they were stick figures. And the way that we differentiated them was that we gave Jenny a little curl.
Oh my god. I'm laughing so freaking much that it's like my mic is like, can you stop?
Okay, so first story that I recall, yeah, I was doing Asdiff characters because I was like, I don't know, 10 years old.
Fan fiction.
And I didn't know how to...
Even back then.
And I didn't know how to draw properly.
You question the story, Star.
You should question the stories that I write. Okay, so the first one that I actually recall... The first one that I actually recall writing was... Fuck. It was...
Star brought the topic, she didn't bring the response.
It was it was a My Little Pony story.
Sorry, no judgment, no judgment.
You're totally judging me.
I'm really not. Trust me.
You're totally judging.
No, I'm definitely not. I have done worse.
It's definitely a prototype for A Tale of One Shadow. I never finished it.
Aww.
I barely got like halfway through it.
Damn, Heavy Robot's like, no, I'm out.
It would be weirder if you were male. I know, that's true, but I'm still a little embarrassed by it, by my past.
Whoa, you got a problem with the bronies?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them as long as they keep it to themselves.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Like, no, not like that. Not like that. Like,
yeah.
Like...
Star, I'm messing with you.
Like, oh, fucking shut the fuck up, bitch. There's nothing wrong with it. Just, like, try to keep the horse porn off of Google. Like, come on. Children can't safely search up My Little Pony anymore. Like, what the fuck, guys?
Okay, so it's not a problem with the bronies. It's the problem with the Rule 34s.
Yeah, it's the problem with the horse porn. That's all it is. So my first story was My Little Pony story. It wasn't a fanfic because it was only my original characters. And it was my self-insert OC Star. What was her name? Her original name was Stargazer. And her name is not Stargazer anymore. It's Fallen Star. Still has the star motif though.
Yay!
Yay! Because my DeviantArt name is also Starly120, so I wanted to keep the star motif going. Please don't look at my DeviantArt.
Then maybe you shouldn't have mentioned it.
But that's where I posted it.
Now that you
That's where
tell everybody not to look it up.
That's where I posted it. Like, I don't think I posted this one there, but I did post some. Like, I remember posting
I
a
don't have the
story
link,
on there.
Madman.
I remember making some stories with some other OCs that I had through images on there. Well, anyways,
It's not hard to find, I will tell you that.
it's literally not hard to find if you just Google Starly120, guys. Like, just remember that I was 14 years old
I
and very
fucking loved
angsty
it on stream. I gave Star a panic attack because she was like, "Oh yeah, I have a DeviantArt page. Please don't go and look it up." And me being like, "Well, now that you said not to," I went and looked it up. And she was like,
check
"No."
it. Yeah, sure you won't. Sure you won't. So it was a story of my OC, and at the time, my boyfriend, my long distance boyfriend, by the way, my first boyfriend was a long distance one. His OC as well, and it was she ran away from home.
He's
She
not
ran
wrong.
away from home, and she was cause I was having problems at home, so I was manifesting it through my writing. So
Yeah,
she
that's
runs away
fair.
from home, and he finds her and brings her home because she was like fucking hiding out under a park bench on a dark and stormy night, by the way.
Why was she hanging out under bench?
Yeah, bench, what were you doing in my story, bro?
Like, seriously, how'd you get there?
And then they end up living
Actually, let's not
together
continue with that joke because I don't know.
I see lots of Sonic stuff. What do you mean?
I think he's talking about your DeviantArt, and that's just to show you he hasn't actually looked at it.
Okay. And so they end up like growing up together, like living together, growing up together, and they become like besties. And I don't know. They were on their way to go to one of the events that happened in the show, and then like I don't know, she blacks out, and then she wakes up and she's in a dream, but she doesn't know that she's in a dream. But what happened? What I ended up writing was a fucking cupcake sequence where she gets mutilated.
What? What?
Oh yeah.
How does a cupcake end in mutilation?
Oh, okay. Well, so
are we talking about the cupcake getting mutilated?
No, we're talking about her getting mutilated. By
what? Was
some
someone
other
upset she took the last cupcake?
Okay, so you don't know about cupcakes, which is good. You are pure. So Cupcakes is a My Little Pony fanfiction. It's a My Little Pony fanfiction where Pinkie Pie fucking mutilates Rainbow Dash and turns her into a cupcake.
What?
There you go. That's the fandom in a nutshell for you.
What is wrong with you people? What the fuck? I thought My Little Pony was supposed to be sweet and wholesome.
Yeah, you'd think that, but then all of the pony porn would have just like clued you into the fact that the fandom
I don't look at that.
Is that the origin of Smile? No. It's not the origin of Smile HD, but that same guy did do a Cupcakes animation, and it is the best.
Oh my god, what is...
Oh yeah,
I will never be able to look at this. I will never be able to look at this fandom the same ever again.
Oh,
like
you think it's bad learning this in the year of our Lord and Savior 2024? Imagine learning this as a 12-year-old. Which is what happened to me.
You know, suddenly so many of your problems make sense. What the fuck? Like,
well,
here's the thing. If you tell me like there's porn of this shit, it's like I expect that. It's the fucking internet. It's like Rule 34 exists for a reason, but holy shit, why?
I actually read the Cupcakes fanfic and I couldn't sleep for 3 weeks.
Good. Good. What the hell? I hope the person who wrote it couldn't sleep for 3 weeks.
Nah, it's actually not that good now. Like, I listened to a dramatic reading of it. It's not that good now.
I feel like a dramatic reading just makes it like if they're actually being dramatic, just like, and so she was
Yeah.
turned into a cupcake. That just makes it sound ridiculous.
No, it was more like there was a lot of things that happened. Like she sliced off her ass tattoo. It's a cutie mark, by the way, but I feel like ass tattoo makes it a little bit more understandable. She
Uh-huh.
slices off her wings, and then she like while she's still conscious, by the way.
I'm sorry, what? uh,
He didn't like the ass tattoo.
oh my god.
Oh
Did that
man.
kick your image off too, or just mine?
Yeah, it kicked both. It kicked both.
Oh.
Anyway, so I wrote something a little bit similar to that.
Oh my
Um,
god.
which ended up uh
Sorry about that.
it
I thought
was
it would just take me off, but
no, because chat was still couldn't hear me. So I mean,
oh yeah, because I disconnected the call.
yeah.
Oh my god, but no, I was like, I could not. I could
All
not.
right. So I ended up writing a scene kind of similar to that, except not as gruesome because I was like 14 years old. And
You just told me that they wrote that it was about someone mutilating their friend and then baking them into a cupcake.
oh yeah, there was no cupcake baking in mine.
Is that how you make it like less graphic? You just kept the mutilation in?
Yeah, I just kept the mutilation in. So I mean, torturing characters was always in the cards for me.
Wow.
Um And so the character who was torturing her was this character she'd never met before, but it turns out to be her best friend's half sister
I thought you
that
were
he didn't know
honestly.
about. Um,
Oh boy.
what did you think? What did you think?
Honestly speaking, I was like, it's either gonna turn out to just be the best friend because there was a little bit of a pause when you said half sister, and I was like, oh, damn.
No, it wasn't him. It was his half
Is
sister.
how long were they friends?
Like fucking 10 years probably.
How do you be friends with someone for 10 years
Well, he
and
didn't even know about his half sister. That's the thing. Oh, did I mention he also has a twin brother?
okay, I was gonna go in and I was like, how do you be friends with someone for 10 years and not know how they have a half sibling? Because it's not hard for you not to know you have a half sibling. Did
Okay.
she also not know about her half sibling?
No, she was aware.
So somehow in 10 years of being friends, did they not live together?
No.
Okay, so you know what, that might be a way. So they were
The half
estranged.
sister, yeah, they were estranged.
Okay,
The
that
half
makes sense
sister,
then.
the half sister's mom kidnapped their dad because she was in love with him,
Okay.
and then did the thing to make the baby.
Uh-huh.
Did I mention that her best friend has a twin brother, by the way? I don't know where he fits into the story. He's just there. But did I mention that
Uh-huh.
this is kind of like a prototype for A Tale of One Shadow?
I'm just surprised you would write that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you really that surprised?
I mean the kidnapping and then the
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna chalk that up to 14-year-old Star not really having a filter about, yeah, probably shouldn't write that.
I mean, I did talk about this in the last episode we did that I do tend to write about sexual assault a lot. I don't
Yeah.
think that I did went in like again because I never got that far into the story. I never wrote
Yeah.
that. It was just something that I had planned. Um but even if I did, I don't think I would have gone into graphic detail because it was all backstory, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
Better than me,
um,
who unfortunately fell into internet culture where it's like stuff like that was like something that could make a story really pop out in people's eyes, and so I wrote it
yeah,
for that purpose.
and that's what I talked about that I didn't like. I don't like it being used as a plot device
Yeah,
just for shock factor. I don't like it being used for shock factor. That's what I don't like about it.
yep. I want to
Um,
clarify before anyone's be like, "How dare you?" I was in high school when I wrote that, and I'm not proud of it. I'll go ahead and say that I was absolutely not proud of that story. I'm pretty sure I've long since taken it down,
yeah,
and I'm just like, I don't ever want to really. I
like,
would not write that now.
like I wrote a short story that ended up being no, it was yeah, it was a short story. I handed it into my teacher for our I think it was like an assignment, and the story had a suicide scene in it. And and I just kind of like I said, "Hey, this is making sure you know that this is the content we're getting into here."
Uh-oh.
And she's like, "Hey, yeah, this is really good. Good job, kid."
Why do I get the feeling that the next day you got a call to the counselor's office?
I actually didn't.
Wow, that is surprising.
Cause she said she wasn't going to like cause there's stories, right?
Yeah.
She knows what to expect in works of fiction, right?
Yes. But I also feel like a lot of English teachers know that sometimes we put more into our writing than we really should.
Yeah, that is true.
Well,
And
it's not so much that we shouldn't put it into the writing, but it's more like our writing reveals a lot about us.
I think it was more like how it was handled. 'Cause I don't think that the scene felt like a cry for help, and that's probably why
The
she
scene
didn't.
didn't filtered like desperation, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That sounded way
Um,
too like me trying to describe feeling. Ugh.
like, a lot of times, when people I can't speak for people, right? 'Cause I don't know what people are going through when they're writing scenes like that.
Yeah.
Again, they use suicide, they use sexual assault as kind of like shock factor to get people talking about their story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, I'm somebody who attempted suicide when I was very young. It is another topic that I take very, very much to heart. And I again try to treat it with the delicacy and the respect it deserves. That's
Yeah.
what I try to do when I'm tackling these kinds of topics, is try to give it the respect that it deserves and not just throw it in there for shock factor last minute.
Yeah.
And that is what I find most annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Shock factor.
Boom.
Yeah, so the first story that I wrote, um after that whole mutilation thing, I don't remember what happened after that. I know that she was kidnapped by the half sister and thrown off of a cloud and died, and then it didn't die.
Wait, what? Hold up. Thrown off of a cloud?
Yeah, 'cause she's a Pegasus. They can walk on clouds.
You know, I probably should have seen that one coming. I probably should have.
Um,
I was thinking that these were people.
right. Okay, she was thrown off of a building. Does that work?
You've already said cloud. My immersion gone.
Your immersion is ruined. This is why
Yep.
I've gone to like working with dragon people instead.
So
And
basically, all
then
your characters are Spike.
no, because he's just a dragon. Mine are dragon people. So she gets thrown off, and she's like half awake, kind of dazed, beat up a little bit, so she doesn't realize she's falling to her death.
Oh,
Her
sounds like
best friend
Tuesday evening.
is yeah, her best friend's trying to save her, but she ends up like on the splatting on the ground, and he's like, "No, how could you've done this? How could you've done?"
Wow.
And then I don't know, they kiss or something, and then she comes back to life. I don't remember.
What?
That could have been it.
What? What?
I don't know. Like, heck if
Wait,
I know. I know
what?
that she did come back to life.
What? We gonna pull some Sleeping Beauty, but necromancy style or something?
I don't remember, dude. And
What?
and then she gets like thrown into a hospital, and then something plot from the show happens, and then she turns evil.
I don't know how to follow up on this one.
Yeah,
now.
see, it's a lot harder for me to explain because you haven't seen the show.
Yeah, I've only listened to the only listened to the soundtrack.
It's like it's all you need to know is that she turns evil.
Uh-huh.
She runs amok being evil, and
Mm-hmm.
then they reunite, and he's like, "No, I love you. You can't be evil." And then she turns not evil.
I was gonna make a joke, but then I gotta remember that these characters are ponies, and then it's like, never mind.
Then they were supposed to have a kid, but I don't remember where that fits in
No, they didn't have a
there.
kid, they had a foal.
It's a foal. Get
Oh,
it right.
whatever.
Fowl
You
is
were the
a
one who said
bird.
kid.
Fowl
So
is
you
a
weren't even
fucking bird.
You were referring to kid as in human. So you were
And then they have a foal.
I've
Is
never
that
had
better?
Yes. I've never actually heard the word pronounced in like I'm gonna be real with you, so I've only ever read it and I had to take a guess.
And there you go. That was the story.
And some people say it was, well, like, then shouldn't you have just gotten full? And it's like, this is English, people. It's not as intuitive as you think it is.
I don't know where the fucking twin brother came from, actually. I'm very confused about
Well,
it.
you see, when a
Shut the
sperm
fuck up.
cell enters an egg,
They
there are
play
one
cards
or two.
with the baby in the womb.
Well, one of two things can happen, and that is one is that. Well, actually, two sperm. Well, technically, it's like it could be two sperm cells.
I know how twins are made. Thank you.
Well, maybe our audience didn't know.
All right, go watch Mama Dr. Jones. I'm sure she will inform you.
Maybe she doesn't.
She does. She did a video on twins. I watched it.
Oh man, I think it's always funny to not necessarily funny, but I always thought it would be kind of comedic to be like, write a story, have the characters be twins, but have them look nothing alike, because then people would be like, those aren't twins.
Yeah.
It's like, yes they are.
Fuck,
Like,
I can't even say that.
The fact that in every story, if there's twins, they look identical every single time. I'm like, that's boring.
Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. That's just called Danganronpa.
Oh man, and that's not even getting into the fact that it's like some twins, and this is definitely always interesting. Is like, you know, there's always some twins are interesting. Like, for example, in an interracial couple, the twins can actually be like, one could be white, one could be a child of color.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's because fraternal twins.
Yeah. And then there's like and then of course there's the really awkward one when the twins have different fathers.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Yeah.
That one's surely interesting.
That's an awkward one to get into.
Well, anyways, so as you can see, my
see how we run off topic?
My shtick of torturing characters runs all the way back to
torturing characters and then making more characters to torture.
And it runs all the way back to my fucking My Little Pony days, all right? Let's go.
ironic since that show was so freaking wholesome and funny.
It was wholesome and funny, but the fandom was not.
The fandom is awful, apparently.
The fandom is cracked, dude.
Like, I guess I'll be fair. Every fandom has its dark side.
I mean, I also read Rainbow Factory, the one where they turn horses into rainbows. By like,
Why is that?
what did they do? They like fucking injected a needle into them and drained them of their color, and that fucking killed them. Something like that. It wasn't as horrible.
Me sitting here and being like, can I come up with another topic so we can move the fuck on? I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Fox doesn't want to hear about all of the really terrible My Little Pony fanfics I've read.
What the frick is wrong? I'm just like, I had topics, but they have all flown out the window where I'm like, my brain is occupied by most of this now.
Alright. Okay, I got one.
Okay.
Who is your favorite character that you've written?
Oh, you're really gonna make me pick here, huh?
I am gonna make you pick.
Okay, favorite character I've ever written is probably Jonah.
Okay.
He is not from the Arrow story. He is from he's probably from my second ever story, Sorcerer Revealed.
Ooh.
And I don't know why I liked him so much, but he definitely ended up being my favorite character. And we actually talked about him in an earlier stream. I think it was actually in the last one that we did.
Yeah.
He was the one that died, and then had the demon who took his form and then eventually ended up turning into a girl.
Yes, that one. Yes. That's the one. I had a feeling that would be your answer.
Yeah. He ended up being my favorite character. I think it's because I wrote him in a very interesting way, because for the vast majority of the story, he's very emotionless. You don't really get a feel for his character because he seems to keep everyone at a distance. And so you had to learn his history almost through other people. He doesn't come out to describe.
I did check DMs, Ben. Shut the fuck up.
He doesn't come out and talk to anyone about like the stuff he's been through, like the fact that when he was a kid, his entire team was slaughtered. So that, like, as far as he knew, he was the only survivor. You noticed my word choice there. Like, as far as he knew, so there was obviously another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, you also realize, like, he was separated from his mother when he was a very young child, which really is, like, kind of rare. Normally, it's like mages either sort of develop, like, as babies, rather than being as, like, children or even older, or even, like, adolescents, which makes the current cast very unusual in its own way. At least that was the point of the story. So is like his whole story is that you realize he because he developed magic, he had to be separated from his mom, and he barely really doesn't have any memories of her, but he still does have some memories of his life before he became a sorcerer.
Yeah.
So he's lost his mother, he's lost what at the time was his best friend. He has been ripped away from pretty much the whole life he knew, forced to become basically a child soldier, and then losing literally everyone who had become his new family. Now, in the current story, he's forced to do the same thing to other people. He's forced to basically train like two people who have just learned that they have magical powers, and while one of them has the some kind of leeway because he doesn't really have anyone else, like his grandfather just died. Someone's gonna say it. No, I made this character before Yuji Itadori existed. Leave me alone. Leave me alone, you JJK stands. I made this character first. He's mine.
He's my baby, and I love him.
Yeah, exactly. In any prove it? I can't prove it. In any case, the other character who you would find out was the best friend from his childhood, also develops magical powers. Now, one of the things about magic is that there is, it's very connected to the realms of reality and fantasy kind of thing, where it's like the more magic is disbelieved and the more exceptional it is, it's almost kind of more powerful, if you will.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, there's this one's really kind of hard to explain, so I'm gonna leave the world building aside. But basically, I guess what I loved about the character is that he cares, but he doesn't show it. Like with the thing with the best friend is like he wanted to help her get back to her mother, because like as her powers get stronger and she becomes more of a sorceress, she starts to dive deeper into the magical world, and that's a bad thing because the deeper you dive in, the less real you are.
Yeah.
Because I think I explained it in the stream. Basically, your existence is overwritten and replaced. The world will create a changeling to take your place, and people will start to remember that thing instead of you.
Yeah.
And he tried to help her, but he couldn't let her know that he was helping her. Because if he admitted to what he was doing, he would have been arrested and tried because it was against the law.
Yeah.
I'm realizing there's a little Bleach overlap there. In any case, I just loved the story because he doesn't seem like a character who kills, because the way to get someone to not become a sorcerer is that you have to make them turn away from the fantasy, like basically close their mind to the impossible.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do once you're aware of it. So he has to make them want to just not know that magic exists. They have to absolutely, like, the very core of their being has to not want it. Like, a good example of this is, in the story, there was a woman whose boyfriend had been killed by demons. She was so traumatized, it shook her to the absolute, like, she was ready to go insane. So he was able to erase her memory of that moment, only because she didn't want to actually remember what really happened. And so he kind of tries to do the same with them. He either pushed, like, during training, he pushes them so far that it's like he wants them to just, like, not want this life. Or finally he has to shock them with how dangerous it can be. But it fails. And now he's forced to bring them further and further into the life he's in, and he hates it. But he's got no choice now. Better that they are able to stay alive. And then you have the whole thing of, like, is the one teammate who survived the tragedy that they both went through. And he's now a bad guy trying to, in his own way, kind of thing. Like, he's trying to open the gates of the, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, basically, I said there's the realms of reality and fantasy. It's not properly described, but basically he's trying to open the gates so that the energy that creates demons floods the earth, which would basically turn everyone into sorcerers. Which sounds good, but in its own way, the way Jonas sees it is that would just ruin more lives.
Yeah.
It wouldn't create anything. It would either, one, make demons more prominent, more powerful, more common, and it would just create Armageddon.
Yeah.
And so it's like this friend who, as far as he's concerned, betrayed all the ideals, he has to kind of stop him. And it's like, it's a whole sequence of things. I guess what I loved about the character was all the complicated relationships I ended up building around him. Yeah, sorry, I really went on a tirade, but this
I am listening.
Yeah,
I
I
am
know.
listening, and I'm saying yeah and and just to make sure you know I'm listening.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you haven't written it, so there's not really a lot of input I can give.
Yeah, it's like this was probably my favorite story that I ever wrote. Probably even better than the Lucian one.
Yeah, you should work on that.
I should work on a bunch of stories, honestly. Let's you know what? Let's pull a Mashima. Just work on 5 stories at once.
Yeah. Don't do that, because then none of them will be good.
Hey, you don't know that.
She says as she's working on 5 different stories at once.
Okay, so let's turn this around. Star, what is your favorite character in the story, in anything you've written?
All right, so Bench said stars is her baby. I want to know what he means by that because all of my characters are my children. So, he's gonna have to be a little bit more specific. If I
Ashley?
had, if I had to pick,
Wait,
I,
did you have a character named Ashley?
I did have a character named Ashley. Yes, Ashley was on the top there. Tyler or Ashley or Ashura, I think, because
Damn it, you have a character named Tyler?
yeah,
You know that character who lost his grandpa?
no.
Also Tyler.
Oh, sorry. I thought you asked if he lost his grandpa.
No,
No,
I
okay.
was talking. I was like the character
Okay.
that I
The
wrote who
character
lost
who
his
lost.
grandpa.
His name is Tyler. Oh
Yes.
man. Why do we keep having the same character names?
Because we just keep choosing
You
common names.
you got one named Kage?
No, not anymore. They're dead now.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I never did characters with like with Japanese names
Yeah.
because I was always like, oh well, I'm not Japanese. I think people would be like, weeb. Back
I
during
am a weeb and I'm proud.
back during a time when it was like I was almost embarrassed to be like a fan of anime because you know it's not cool.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
I have three that I really liked the
Okay.
characterization
Tell me about
for.
them.
Tyler and Ashley as a duo, I absolutely adore how
Hmm.
I have them written in the sequel, like what I have for the sequel so far.
Are they the
Um,
cousins?
no, they're not cousins.
Okay.
No,
Hmm.
Ashley is Ashley is the daughter of Kage and Damon,
I knew that one. I was
and
trying. I was.
Tyler's some random kid with anxiety.
Oh, so just random kid. I was thinking it was like my Dante and his wife.
No, no,
Okay.
they have a kid named Tamara,
Ah, okay.
and she's technically the main character in the spin-off.
Technically.
Technically, but also technically not. It's weird.
Deuteragonist.
It's weird. I can't explain it with like I mean I could, but we're talking about Tyler and Ashley.
Okay.
Um I don't know. I really enjoyed their dynamic and what I had written. I need to add a little bit more in between them meeting and the inciting incident that
Mm-hmm.
happens that completely like flips both of them around. Um
Mm-hmm.
but I adore how I wrote Ashley um and I can't really talk about why without spoiling the end of the story.
Fox literally I just literally sat here and spoiled the entire story of my own thing. What do you
Yeah, but
mean?
I don't want to ruin the ending of A Tale of One Shadow for you and the other 11 people in chat.
There's an ending? I'm still waiting for chapter 10.
See, the problem with that is that I know the ending, it's just getting there is the problem.
Yeah. I never know my
Um,
ending.
I think another one that I really enjoyed the characterization of was Ashura, and that's just because he went through the biggest change in the first draft to now. If you didn't know, Ashura used to be the villain of the original
Ah.
story. Um,
Villain to
he
hero.
Yeah, so in the original story, it started with I mean like both Ashura and Ash like they basically just flipped roles.
Wait, so Ash was good?
Yeah, she was the good parent
I don't believe you.
at one point.
I don't
She was
believe you at all.
she was the good parent at one point.
No.
The first couple drafts start out on the night where her house gets destroyed. You know that house in the forest?
Uh-huh.
And how it's like destroyed, torn, and singed in places.
Yeah.
Um, so the original story starts there, where she's hanging out at home with her mom and her dad, who's not actually her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom knows about her being a dragon person because her mom is also a dragon person.
Shocker.
Shocker. And she's all, here, dear, I know your fucking body is deteriorating because you're a dragon person, and
Wait,
and your body can't
deteriorating
handle
what?
it. Oh
Oh.
yeah, so in the original story she was kind of sick, like Kage was a little bit sick because like her body couldn't handle being like the
Okay.
dragon
That's
power.
interesting.
So she would constantly be like coughing up blood and very weak and pale and very frail child. You wouldn't really expect that of our Kage, would you?
It
um
raises an interesting question. How are we going to explain? How are you going to explain why Kage was sick if you eventually made Ash into a dragon person? So was it an exceptional illness, or was it like Ash got used to being a dragon person?
Ash was given her power by a dragon, whereas Kage was born with it.
So it's like she had a biological defect due to the dragon thing.
Yeah, because when they're given the dragon power, it physically changes their genetic makeup, right?
But Kage would be physically a dragon as well, though.
Mm, I mean,
We're gonna like leave that up to like
sexually
first draft.
transmitted dragon, yeah. For first draft stuff, I mean, well, technically that's still the case. Ash was still given her dragon power by a dragon.
Yeah.
Ashura was also Ashura got it by a different means.
What? No human
Um,
transforming into a mecha? Not at this time. Not yet.
um, Ashura was born 800 years in the past, like before the story starts,
Uh huh.
and he um was the product of a ruler doing
Hmm.
bad things to his servants,
Yep.
and
As they do.
his mother was she had a dragon with her. This dragon just found her and she was like, "Hello, I'm here to I'm here to stop something from happening." This is the prequel and it's kind of still in the works, so don't
Yeah.
mind me if I
Still
kind of
working on some things, huh?
still working out the kinks, you know? So Dragonessa? No. His
I feel
mom's
like.
name is Sylvia, actually. Go
I'm
away.
sorry. You just still making fun of me because of my Dragano thing. Look, I wasn't very
So,
creative. Okay.
um, so the dragon helps her escape, and she has Ashura, who she names Artorias, who I named whomst I named before I got into Fate.
Sure.
I actually
Fate
got the name
reference.
from Tales of Berseria, okay? So shut up.
Fate reference.
It is a Fate reference now, but it wasn't when I named him, okay?
Uh huh. We believe you.
So, her and the dragon stay together for a while, and she's kind of like not doing so hot.
Mm-hmm.
She's like I wouldn't say on the verge of death, but definitely on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion.
Funniest
They're
shit I've ever seen.
funniest shit I've ever seen. They're found by
Uh,
they're
I'm gonna get
found
so
by the
much flack for that
kingdom.
joke, but it's your joke.
They're found by the kingdom who like ends up killing the dragon who is trying to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a fluffy dragon, not really meant for combat.
Fluffy!
It's a very fluffy dragon.
Fluffy!
And Sylvia leaves her son in a bush somewhere, like fucking slits her wrist and writes a note on the fucking rags that he was wrapped in using one of the feathers from the dragon that fucking
Uh,
died to save her.
hold on. She had time to write a whole note?
Maybe just probably please save Artorias.
Could she not have used that time to just keep running?
No, because like I said, she was on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion.
She had time to write a note.
Well, anyways, so she leaves him in a bush, and then she probably used all that energy to run away from where she left him so that she could, like lead
But
them away.
she'd have more energy if she hadn't slit her wrist and therefore blood loss.
Probably didn't slit the whole wrist. It was probably just like a light prick, like nothing too deep. Just something to get like a marking. She's captured, she's brought back to the kingdom, she's tortured to death, yada yada. Back
We're just gonna go right past that, okay?
We're gonna go right past that. Back where she left her son, there's another dragon who finds him and brings him back to this massive colony.
Does this family just have something that attracts dragons?
Yes.
Okay then.
It's called a prophecy.
A prophecy.
It's called a prophecy.
A prophecy just says, and so too shall be born the boy who attracts dragons.
So this dragon, her name is Luna, and she looks like a Night Fury, but she's not because copyright. She takes him back to the dragon village.
It's the Black Fury.
Where there's dragons, and then there's dragon people. So this is where the dragon people came from. And she's like, look, I found a baby. And they're like, you can't bring that here. He's gonna fulfill the prophecy and kill our leader and then kill all of us. And she's like, nah.
Why specifically him?
Because he's an outsider.
So the prophecy was like, okay, one day a dragon shall bring forth an outsider, and now you're all gonna die. Is that what happened?
So what happens is she raises him, and
doesn't answer me at all.
And what happens is she raises him, and she calls him Ashura. Ashura Nox. He gets his last name from his second mom. Damn, Ashura, how come Star lets you have two moms? And
I'm gonna give it 5 minutes, and then she's dead.
And then so he ends up getting bullied his whole life because he doesn't have the dragon power because he's not from the village. He's not a dragon person. And one day he finds a book in the library that talks about how the dragons would give people their power, and it's usually when they're dying.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, I can get the dragon power. Oh.
Does he kill the leader?
Thank you. Thanks, Mama. So he sneaks into the dragon god. It's a dragon god, by the way. That's the leader.
Of course it is.
He sneaks into the dragon god's cave, and the dragon god looks at him, and he's like, I knew this day was coming since the moment Luna brought you here, you shit kit. He didn't say that. But he was ready, he was waiting, and he's like, all right, you kill me, and you're gonna live to regret it, kiddo. And so he's like, yeah, you don't scare me. So he fucking kills him. And what happens? What happens is that he gets the power, and it drives him absolutely goddamn mad, and he ends up slaughtering the entire village.
I almost wish I had face cam so you could see my expression, because I'm just like, I have so many questions at this point. Like, okay, I gotta kill a dragon. Well, I'm gonna go take down something called a dragon god.
No,
like, what kind of fucking
he wanted the respect. He was tired of being like bullied.
Kill the bullies. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, kill the bullies. Well, he was all like, well, what if I have a power that's better than theirs? Right?
He just apparently killed a dragon god. He was already apparently more than capable of it.
Well, it's not that
Which then
It's
begs
not.
the point: how did he kill? How could he not just kick the bully's ass? Did the dragon god just roll over and die?
Yeah, it's more like the dragon god just rolled over and died.
So the prophecy came true, not because the boy chose to kill him, but because the dragon god was like, well,
it's still a work in progress, all right? We're still working on the kinks, all right? All we know is that Ashura killed a dragon and he went berserk and he murdered everyone. And now he's immortal. So yeah.
Okay. I'm just like, the big prophecy.
Listen, there probably isn't even a prophecy, okay? Like, who the fuck knows?
But I'm just trying to walk through the logic of this. Okay, so first the dragon god was like, oh, you can't bring that boy here because it'll fulfill the prophecy. And then she's like, forget it, I'm still gonna raise him.
No,
and
no. He didn't say she couldn't. It was all of the other dragons that were like, no, you can't do that.
You specifically said the leader said that.
No, they were saying that she couldn't bring him in because he was going to kill the leader.
I know, but when you were describing it, you were specifically saying the leader was telling her this.
I don't remember.
Oh, and you guys were commenting on me not remembering something I just said.
Yeah. I thought we knew that.
Yeah. But the prophecy doesn't even come true because she brought him. It comes true because the dragon god said, I'm too lazy to fight you, so just kill me.
No, so he snuck in at night to kill the dragon in its sleep, but the dragon knew that he was there. He definitely brought a weapon with him, but the dragon was like, I've lived a long fucking time.
So again, because Dragon God said, you know what, I'm not paid enough for this shit.
Yeah, I guess it was because he just wasn't paid enough for this shit.
Yeah, it was like he just. God. This is funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, it's still something I'm working out. All right.
All right. I'm just picturing that dragon like just laying there.
800 years of suffering because one dragon god didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you brought up the weapon, and I'm like, I don't care what kind of weapon you got on hand. You're gonna go up against something that's been given the title of a dragon god. It better be a nuke.
He just picks up a tactical nuke.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Oh my god.
And then it's like, well, if you've got that, why not just go after the bullies themselves? If you've apparently had the guts to go after this dragon.
Ashura wasn't really the smartest cookie,
Apparently not.
Ashura, he's had a lot of time to think and become smarter,
You said he was 800?
Yeah, 820.
Yeah, so let me guess, 815 of those years were spent before he realized, oh shit, I could have just killed them.
Yeah, well, you think his dragon mom is gonna let him do that?
Well, I imagine she's dead too, so what's it matter?
He actually doesn't die.
You said he slaughtered the whole village.
Yeah, well, she just happened to not die.
Was she not there?
He's just a little boy.
Was she not there? Was she out on a trip?
No, she was there, and she did get gravely injured. But,
Did she hug him and then it was like all better?
No. She got gravely injured, and then she, went into a sort of, cocoon state.
Uh-huh.
We're actually gonna see her in A Tale of One Shadow pretty soon.
Is it in chapter 10?
It is in chapter 10, actually.
Yes, I knew chapter 10 would be the best.
Because it has Luna in it. We get to see a fucking dragon.
You mean we haven't seen? I thought we've seen 2 dragons already.
That is true. We have seen 2 dragons.
Well, I guess technically we've seen 2 dragon people.
So, there are these dragons, and they're called the pure dragons, and they're what the dragon god, his name is Zerato, by the way. He created them when he crash landed into Earth and killed the dinosaurs.
So the dragons are aliens?
Yes.
Okay then. Are they from the planet Dragano?
Oh, probably.
No, let's not do any more crossover stuff. We've already got the problem with your characters breeding too much.
Yes, apparently. So he created them to reshape the world after he accidentally destroyed it.
Well, at least he was nice.
Um, and as soon as Ashura started massacring the village,
Vision to loaf.
the um the pure dragons, they escaped. They managed to escape and they went into hiding
Mm-hmm.
in their like cocoon-esque states for 800 years so that they didn't die.
Wait,
Um
cocoons?
yeah, they like become something of like a cocoon. It's and like they go into like a semi-coma
Uh-huh.
and they just kind of buried themselves underground.
Okay.
Um So what happened was Ashra ends up like finding the kingdom where his scumbag father lives,
Uh-oh.
and there's a bit of a
Rips out his
language
heart.
barrier. There's a bit of a language barrier because he grew up in a village full of dragons.
Well, that does seem like it would be a bit of a problem.
So he like storms his way into the castle and he fucking finds his dad, who's a dickhead. His name is Richard, by the way.
Wow. Really? That's what we're going with?
Yeah, Richard Moles, because he's got a mole on his ass.
I think we could have done without that information.
And then he kills his dad, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
he like finds he finds a room that smells kind of like him, but not exactly. So he figures that that's probably where his mom died.
Hold it. Hold it. Um, how much time has passed between his mother's death and this happening? Because it's like that's years.
That is years. I
I
know.
don't think his scent would have remained. Or at the very
Percent,
least, they would have
but
probably
yeah.
scrubbed it out. 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been
5 minutes, and
5 minutes.
he's grown up enough to kill a dragon god. That is the toughest fucking infant I have ever met. That dragon
Okay.
was lazy.
Well, then I don't know. I don't know how he figures it out, but he does.
Oh man.
And
I
he
was just
fucking
curious. Like you could easily make it to where it's like a dragon's sense of smell is like thousands of times stronger than any animal on Earth.
well, I thought we knew that.
But then it's also like how do dragons handle like the scent of things? Like how like strong scent like would that be their weakness? The strong sense of smell?
Yeah, I mean for Kage it's definitely like sounds and smells.
Yeah.
Like
So you
the
have an
one
establishment there.
the one chapter where Damon brings her to the city, she talks about how it's all very overwhelming to hear so many sounds at once and see like and the fucking billboards. I don't know if I mentioned billboards with really high illuminating light,
Yeah.
but she does talk about how that's very upsetting to her poor senses.
Yeah, for the most part, it's like I guess it's more like it's house strong, which you could say like her sense of smell is probably like maybe not as great as Asha's because she's actually half human. I guess I don't know.
She must really hate McDonald's. She
Oh
does.
damn.
And Ash mentioned at one point that she could smell Kage as soon as she stepped into the city. So it's definitely a dragon thing
Yeah,
where they have like a better senses than the normal person.
not even just normal person. It sounds like they have a better sense of smell for like compared to any animal because I don't think even like a dog would be able to track a scent that is like years old.
Yeah. It's probably just like faint, very faint, but it's
Yeah.
there. Um
Which, by the
So
way, I am now going to reenact the conversation between the king and Ashura real quick.
Okay. All right, I'll let you know how accurate you are.
Who are you to step into my throne room? Grrr.
That is so accurate.
Like, I was just sitting here. I'm imagining a whole conversation. Grr? What an awesome, strange name. Grr.
Oh man. So Ashura
Sorry, that
knows,
entered my head, and I was like, I gotta do this.
yeah, so Ashura ends up speaking like maybe 1 or 2 words of the common tongue that he ends up saying.
Get dead.
Yeah, get dead, and then kills him.
Actually, turns out he
and
was trying to
then
say get dad.
and then as he's leaving, all of the servants in the castle are like, "No, you can't leave. We have no one to rule us now, and since you were the king's son, you have to do that."
Yep, let's. How the hell do they know that he is the king's son? Do they look that much alike?
No, actually, they don't. Um. Look, there's a lot of shit that I'm leaving out. Okay.
Okay, I'm not. I'm not laughing at the story. I'm just laughing.
You're laughing at how stupid it is.
No, it's funny as hell because I'm just imagining like so many different scenes where it's like, first of all, he kills the king, and they're like, and the servants. I almost thought you were gonna say they burst out into a party. They pull out the fucking.
They
mead.
did do that. They did do that after they asked him to rule them.
I'm almost expecting it to be like, we're kind of drunk here. You killed the king. You're the king now.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah. The law of conquest.
So he ends up ruling for 800 years, meets his wife.
This man rules for 800 years and nobody questions a thing.
Nope.
Your people are stupid.
No, they're all like, man, our king, he's kind of built different,
He's just built different. He's 820 years old, and he still looks like he's what, 30?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Man.
yeah, he definitely probably looks like he's 30 because, ruling a kingdom for 800 years does wonders for your complexion.
Yeah. Dragon King flexing in the mirror. Did you make his chin into a Giga Dragon?
Yeah, I did do that.
Oh god.
So originally he took over the kingdom because he was mean and evil. But now he's just a sad boy, and he's like, "Well, I got nothing better to do." And then
you know what? He could still take over the kingdom because he's evil, but then after a few hundred years, he's like, "Why the hell did I do this?"
Yeah, well, I mean, he could always just fake his death if he wanted to.
I don't know. You said he was dumb, so I don't think he was smart enough to realize it.
Well,
Probably
he ends
realized it
up
after 819 years, maybe.
he ends up meeting his wife. A good old Ash.
Wait, they're married?
Yeah, they are. They were married. They
Huh.
were married.
Neat.
They were indeed married. 'Cause they're mates. You know dragon mates. I talked to you about dragon mates, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he ends up meeting his wife, and he marries her, and she's probably like ugh,
Mm-hmm.
she's probably like young because this is a fucking old society. And he ends up tapping her. Yeah, okay, listen, I'm not gonna make it that weird. I'm gonna make her 16 at least. Or I can just say fuck old society and make her 18.
He just said tapping her. He wasn't even gonna mention an age.
He probably young compared to the 800-year-old dragon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when they have Jade.
Uh-huh.
So Jade is the older one. And yeah, so
Ash
and
just
then
looking
at
at Kage. Can't you be more like your sister?
yeah, why couldn't you be more like Jade, huh? You wacko.
Yeah, completely ignoring
And
all the torture I've put you through.
yeah, and I did mention Jade, and very much alluded to their relationship
Yeah.
in A Tale of One Shadow during the fight scene in that one chapter. I don't remember which one it was.
It
Uh
was the same it was the same chapter where Ash decided to rearrange both her husband and child's insides.
yeah, that's the one.
That
Um
was a fun chapter.
it was the one where Ashura actually shows up for the first time. I love that guy. Um and one day, so Ash isn't a stay-at-home mom, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
like, I ain't about that life. I'm gonna go out, ride horses, and you can do all the kingdom shit like you've been doing for 800 years.
Wait, so is he
Um
actually like 800 years older?
no, he's immortal,
Well, I
and
got that he was immortal, but like, at what point did he meet her?
oh yeah, he met her at like 800 and some odd years old, right? Like how old do you think fucking Kage is?
Well, I know she's like 20.
Yeah, so if Ashura met Ash in the past, then they wouldn't be like Ash wouldn't be alive.
But Kage also has a older sibling.
Yeah,
How much
who's like
older?
a couple years older, like 2 or 3
Okay.
years older.
So
Um,
more probably more akin to about 790 to 800 specifically.
yeah, yeah. So one day
Cradle robber.
whilst she's out frolicking in the woods, because that's what she does during her free time.
Okay.
She trips over a rock that is not actually a rock. It turns out to be one of the spines of one of the dragons that fled the massacre 800 years ago.
Okay.
And it pops out of the ground because it had been disturbed for the first time in 800 years, however that happened. And
Okay.
it's like, oh my god, a human. All right, I'm going to transfer my power to you right now. And she's like, what the fuck?
Wait, so the was the dragon not dead?
No,
Okay, well you said spine, and so I was thinking it was a skeleton.
no, like one of the spines, like a spike.
Okay.
A spike spine spike. The
Okay.
ones that go
Okay.
down their back.
Yeah.
So it pops out and it's like, I'm gonna give you this power. You must use it to defeat the black dragon because he's a black dragon. Ashura, because he fucking slaughtered their home and their families, and
A black
the
dragon, huh?
dragons want revenge. Yeah, you know about the black dragon.
I also know about the black and white dragon.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
That was so stupid to read.
And so she gets the power of the fire dragon, right? Except it was shut the fuck up. It was a blue dragon. It was a blue fire dragon who was the mate to the original fire
Okay,
dragon. Ooh,
okay, I'm done.
wow. So that's why their fire is blue.
Yep.
Just because I like it. I think it's pretty.
Blue fire is amazing.
And then after that
Can't
happens,
wait for Ash to
Ashura's
meet her great grandchild, who also has blue
uh,
fire.
and while that's is going on, Ashura notices that there's a fucking dragon in the distance, and he goes, "Oh shit!" And so he
Why?
sits Jade down, and he's like, "Hey, stay here. I'm gonna go see what that's about."
Okay.
And so he heads out, and this is when Jade is like, you know, 3 or some years old, right?
Yeah.
So he heads out and then he gets there just as the power transfer is complete. Ash now has powers, and she looks at him and she's like, "Oh, you're the black dragon." And he's like, "Oh shit." shit.
Ah, shit, she's hot. Oh, wait, fire dragon. Duh.
Doy. And then she,
Mm-hmm.
and then she makes Kage with him and then runs away.
What? Oh my god. So hold up. Let me go back over that for just a second. So she goes out, just random location in the forest, trips over the spike of a dragon spine.
Yep.
The dragon wakes up after being asleep for about somewhere near about 790 years.
Yep.
And says, okay, I've been asleep for a while. I want revenge on the black dragon, so you're a random human that just happened to stumble upon me. So here you go. Now you go do it. Ashura,
Because the dragon was dying. Yes.
yeah. Ashura then shows up after leaving Jade unattended. By the way, he's got servants. They can handle it.
Not unattended. There was plenty of servants in that castle.
That's what I just said. Sorry. Left Jade in the capable hands of his servants, went out, sees Ash in her new, like, I assume she looks physically different.
Yeah, she now has blue hair.
Okay. Sees her in her new form, and he is just like, shit. Apparently he's liking the new look.
No, that's not how it goes.
Okay. Oh, I see where this is going now, and I'm just gonna phase on by.
Yeah. That's why I just wanted to skim right past it.
Yeah. I think it would be funnier if it was just like, it actually was just like, he's just like completely in love with it.
He was so fucking turned on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, and the way that it goes is how it explains why he didn't know about Kage.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you meet him in the story, he doesn't
Yeah,
know
he's
about
like,
her.
who dat?
He's like, what the fuck is that? Where did you get that? Where the fuck did you get that?
Damn, Ashura. That is your kid. That's not a that.
Where the fuck did you get her?
Well, Ashura, you see when a man and woman really love each other.
So she fucking dips out. She's gone. She finds some other poor sap to manipulate. Has Kage, and then
at some point we need an explanation of how she became an absolute psycho. Was it the dragon powers that did it?
It was 100% the dragon powers.
Okay.
Or maybe she was always psychotic.
She was always psychotic.
Maybe like being engaged to the fucking ruler of your kingdom for 800 years does that to a person, like.
But she herself is not 800 years old.
No, but maybe it just went to her head,
Oh, I figured you were gonna have like a whole thing where it's like she was always psychotic, and actually like when he thinks like she's out horse riding, she's actually like manipulating her power.
No, she's just torturing like animals in the woods.
Ah. Yeah, that was the other thing that I was thinking of.
No, because after she gets her powers, she fucking dips out, because now she has to think of a way to kill him. The black dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So she manipulates some other poor sap.
Honestly, he deserves it.
Yeah, he did deserve it. But she does it in a way that makes him think that it's his kid. Yeah. Ash, what the fuck,
How the
girl?
hell did she manage that? Did she literally like meet this guy in like within a few days or a few weeks?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with her?
I don't know. You're the one who wrote the story.
You wanted the title of baddest bitch in the verse, yeah?
Apparently. Oh my god.
And so where A Tale of One Shadow originally started was the night where Ashura tracks her down finally, and
Yay!
get into a fucking fight, and he goes Black Dragon and destroys her fucking house.
What the hell, Koo? I mean,
um
probably not wrong.
and in the original first draft, it was he didn't he didn't come to the house to talk with Ash. He just came and he fucking destroyed it. um I believe that he knew that Kage was his kid, but I don't remember if that was something that he knew. um Maybe in the original story he wasn't even her dad, I don't know.
Well, damn.
um and then Ash fakes her death to get him to I don't remember why she did that, actually.
Sorry,
He
I'm just
came.
over here looking at like the old Kage concept art we did.
Yeah.
And it's like most of the
So,
ones I have are just like too adorable to actually be Kage. No offense, girl.
no offense, Kage. Hey, I think she's adorable. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, well then I'll pull it
Um,
up on stream then.
so getting back to the initial why is he my favorite character to write? It's because of the changes that he went throughout the different iterations of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's adorable. Look at her.
Don't be captivated by
Um,
the blushies.
he went from being he went from being the absolute psychopath to, like, this fucking yeah, he fucking slaughtered an entire village of dragon people, and he feels really bad about it, and that doesn't excuse his actions at all, but,
Nope.
like, he's trying to work and at becoming a better person.
Who is she? This is Star's character that she's been talking about. Well, not the one she's been talking about. She's been talking about Ashura. This is Kage, who is the main character of her story, A Tale of One Shadow.
Yes.
And I, for some reason, made AI art of it
Yes.
because we were curious to see what it could make.
And, it was actually somebody in my I don't remember if it was writer's craft or if it was English, I don't know. I had the same teacher for both classes in the same room, so it was just me sitting in the same in the same classroom for for 2 90-minute periods.
Wow.
But I had one of my acquaintances look over the plot line, and they were like, "Well, if he's evil, like, why would he still be evil after meeting the love of his life?"
Satanaku gave
And
me art of Ash.
oh no.
I don't know.
And
It's looking
and
pretty
they and
good.
they were like why would he do all these terrible things after meeting the love of his life who's supposed to, like, bring out the best in him? And I'm like, "You know what? You're fucking right." So I made him a good boy. All right, show me the Ash art. I want to see it.
Wait, what the hell?
Oh, good God. Yep. That that sounds about right.
I don't know why, but it's showing up twice. Why did it? Hold on. But yeah, this is apparently Ash, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah, apparently I've seen it before, but
I haven't
yeah.
seen it. I've seen like a different one that he submitted to you once. Not gonna lie, it looks good. I'd
That's
be
a
tempted.
psychopath.
Well, here's the thing: you don't realize they're a psychopath until after you've already stuck your dick in crazy.
That I thought you were gonna I'm expecting somebody to say that's the best part.
No. Everybody is always like, man, I want a crazy bitch. And so it's like, then you get one, and then it's like, can I get that receipt?
Yeah, can I get the receipt, please?
Oh, man. All right. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the next topic? Because I think I got one.
Um, he changed his way after good pussy.
Oh, man.
Mm, okay. Um, yeah, Ashura I think is my favorite because of
Mm-hmm.
the development that he went through as a character, and
Yep.
in during during the course of my revisions of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do still enjoy Tyler and Ashley's interactions with each other and their characterization, and they're fucking adorable.
Fair.
All right, there you go.
Okay. I'm torn on what I want to do for this next part of the topic because I had quite a few different ideas. One was asking, how do you come up with your story? Like, how do you come up with the next phase of the story? Like, what is your process? Or I could ask, like, maybe like some advice for maybe help out some writers here. Is like, how do you come up with character names or something? But I think I want to lean more towards the process because that is such a fascinating thing. So, what is your process for writing?
Don't mind me, I'm just chewing on coleslaw because I'm hungry.
Yeah, Fox has her is
Process.
keeping her hostage from her dinner.
You are.
Not my fault.
So, like, probably not how I get my ideas, but how I go about writing my ideas. How do I figure out where the story goes next?
Yeah.
Okay. That is a good
I mean,
question.
it can be anything, like just coming up with your ideas. How do you figure out what comes next? Just anything that goes into your process.
Well, with A Tale of One Shadow, it's definitely been like 7, 8 years of ongoing thought. Thoughts. It's always oh, let's do this. Oh, we can add in this scene. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Let's change it to this. And yeah, it's just a lot of thinking at all
we see the
times.
thoughts.
It's always just thinking at all times. The sequel still needs a bit of that thinking process because I have like it feels like it's supposed to be split into 2 parts, but I don't have all of the content to fit into 2 different books, right?
Yeah.
So I still need fleshing out in that department, so I'm still figuring out where to go between after they meet to the inciting incident and what happens after the inciting incident and whether or not I want that to be the end of the story or if I want to keep going or not. Because I do have future plans for Tyler and Ashley, right? This isn't like it's a fucking trilogy in 5 parts, like like once you've got like more ideas, you just keep going. And the problem, I wouldn't say it's a problem. Like I know how A Tale of One Shadow is going to end, and I think that really caps out at the all of the stuff I can do with Kage and Damon and everyone else you haven't met yet in that story. The process mostly comes from knowing the ending and how I want to get there. I think it's very important for a writer to know what their ending is when coming into a work. I won't start working on anything until I know what the ending is. I have the ending for obviously the prequel. I have the ending for A Tale of One Shadow. I haven't figured out the ending for I haven't I haven't figured out the ending for the sequel because I still haven't figured out what I'm doing with all of that. But I know the ending to the spin-off. And then the other 2 stories that I'm working on in the background, which are Aliens in Space and the time travel one. Those are 2 still fresh ideas. Where I only have the basic premise and the characters that I know I'm going to have in there. Um, but it's definitely you sit down and you write and you see where it takes you. Sometimes when I'm writing A Tale of One Shadow, it sometimes goes in a completely different direction. Like I didn't like the chapter what was it, chapter 9, I think. No, chapter 8. It's not chapter 9, it's chapter 8.
It can't be chapter 9. You haven't even finished.
I haven't even finished that one yet. I haven't even started that one yet.
At least we know
Um,
chapter 10 is ready.
yeah, at least we know chapter 10 is ready. Um, with chapter 8, I was I started to write it and I remembered that Fox had mentioned that he hated Veronica more than Ash, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Veronica's a character." And then she just kind of inserted herself into the chapter. So, like
Oh man.
things can
She
happen
did
during
that
your
just to
process.
spite me.
Listen, I didn't do that. She did that. All
She
right?
did it to spite me.
She did do it to spite you, all right? But, like she did it. It wasn't me, it was her. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't She was only supposed to be there for, like, a chapter and a half, but no, she just showed up again.
And then there's me who's just
So,
always spinning the wheel of death, just hoping it lands on her.
yeah. So, in my process, it's mostly just write, and when a new idea comes to you, write that down as well.
Yeah.
Um, with A Tale of One Shadow, I definitely had a plot line. Plot line helps too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a plot line. It was where I wanted the story to go, and it definitely helped, like, pave the way for the work that's currently
Yeah.
on AO3. Um, it's been helping knowing where I want the story to go and how I want it to end. Definitely the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the advice, write with your ending in mind, and it's good advice.
It
I
really is.
It really is good advice. And I always try to come up with an ending before I start a work.
Fair enough. Heavy Robot was asking, I'm debating if I want to kill the MC's twin brother in a story or keep him alive. Whenever you're debating that, always think, is it actually important to the story?
Yeah.
And kind of like take yourself, like, this might seem like a really bad idea, but almost kind of create two branches. Like, if the character's twin brother is alive, does it change anything in their story? Does, like, if it changes nothing, there's no point in killing them either. So, like,
Mhm.
if the result is still the same, like, the twin brother seems to have no purpose at all then. Like, that's kind of the way
Um,
I view it. Is like, the death of a character needs to be important if you're gonna give it, like, such a big thing.
yeah. If you want, I can kill him for you.
Okay, so I guess that means I gotta explain my writing process, huh?
Yeah,
And,
give me
if
your
I ever
process while
actually
I eat my
wrote
slaw.
anything.
Give me the process while I eat my slaw, okay?
Alright. Okay. So, my thing is that I don't think I've ever really nailed down like what is a good process for me. I've tried a bunch of different things. Like, I've tried plotting a story, by writing an outline in a notebook. I actually found that was incredibly useful to dissect what I wanted. So I actually have found that to be a very useful tool, but it typically, I always felt kind of trapped with it, whereas like I was always trying to fit the guidelines without actually branching out with anything.
Mm, that's your problem, isn't it?
A little bit, because it's like, in a way it's good for me because I'm a person who, like, I like to explore. I world build typically sometimes before I do a story, and I almost reach a burnout point where it's like I feel like I overcomplicate it. So that
Mhm.
restriction is actually really, really good for keeping me self-contained.
Mhm.
Now, what my writing process is usually this. Like, if is that I will go out for like a walk or something, and suddenly when I'm on my feet, my brain is moving like 5 miles a second.
Me in the shower.
It's just insane. Like, I can probably like, in the space of that one walk, I'll probably have come out with like 7 different ideas for what I could sit down and write, and then I finally get to the computer and it's like, I don't like any of these anymore. They don't
So,
work.
I have a
um
thing.
the thing
I
is
have a
that
thing.
the I okay.
I have a thing, where if I wake up and like, cause I usually get my story ideas from dreams. So
Yeah.
if I wake up and I think, wow, that was a really good dream, I'm gonna write that down.
Hmm.
Even if it's bad, Even if it's bad, like even as I'm writing it down, I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't as good as I thought. I'm still gonna write it down because maybe that could come up with something interesting in the future.
That's fair. Um,
Except for that one bullet point that just says pirates. I don't know what that means.
thing about when I'm coming up with ideas is that it's not even just as simple as like I just came up with the ideas like, okay, what if character got superpowers by eating peanut butter? Someone actually wanted me to do that once. Write a story with that in mind.
I'm gonna choke on my slaw.
I'm sorry. I don't simply just sit there and be like, I have a single sentence. In the time that I'm out walking and I've come up with these 7 different ideas, my brain creates the entire scenario. Like, it's playing out in my head, and I'm like, this was always the embarrassing part because I was a very isolated kid. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and I didn't really talk to people. So because I almost created a sort of fake social interaction with myself by, you know what LARPing is?
Yep.
Now make that into a one-man show, and that was me. Basically, I would take that story and I would live that. I would pretend I'm in the world and I would basically just like live it out. And that was basically how I would come up with the ideas. And it creates this sort of it creates both a visual and an emotional connection for me because it feels like I'm really in the character's shoes. The hard part is translating all that into writing.
Oh, definitely.
Like, it's like, people come into my writing streams and be like, well, Fox, you really, like, no one's ever straight up said this. It seems like I have no idea what I'm trying to get to, but it's like, there is such a big difference between a novel and a script. What I do with my writing process is more akin to a script than it is a novel.
But maybe you should go into filmmaking.
That, I thought about that, but then I was like, I was like, honestly, I would love to just be able to like use my writing to make like storyboards for like anime or something. I'd love that. Get my shit animated.
That would be pretty cool.
I would like, because I'm more dialogue oriented than I am detail oriented. I love making characters interact with each other.
I am the opposite. I am so detail oriented, for real.
Like, that's where I struggle, is like constantly having to come up with the idea of like, okay, this is what the character is doing, but I can see what they're doing like in my mind. I can have the entire conversation just play out in my head. I'm trying to think of a good scene that I really have held into my head. This is from the same story of Sorcerer Revealed, where Jonah has to go in kind of. I can't act it out or anything because I'd be too embarrassed, but it's like thousands of dialogue sequences are stored in my brain and I can make those, like, they're all there, but I cannot put them down on page because I always feel like people are going to read this and they're not going to understand what the hell's going on because there's not enough detail. There's just nothing but dialogue.
Is it really more embarrassing than the fucking My Little Pony story I shared earlier?
Well, I mean, no, I guess not. I guess it's more like, because I would be trying to act out the story, it feels a little weird. I guess it's like,
you don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah. And I'm more like, I can see that in the moment than I can anything else. And so when it comes to my writing process, it's like, it's really hard. I've written stuff before where I've tried to balance all that out. It's really freaking hard to do it. Especially because you want to create a sequence of dialogue that shows off the character a bit more. That's definitely a struggle. Because sometimes it's sometimes so easy to just be like, oh, we'll just write proper grammar, just write a sentence. But then it's like, does this sound like the character?
I always worry that my characters sound way too boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's really hard when your character actually is like an emotionless being. Like,
It
and then
was it was really hard for Kage because in early drafts, she was saying shit like, "Oh, well, she was saying shit you wouldn't really expect someone who lived out in the woods for 10 years to know how to say."
yeah.
And so when writing that scene, like when writing the when writing her in the new draft, it
Mm-hmm.
was oh yeah, she can't really speak all too well because she has been living by herself in the woods for a long time,
Yeah, so she wouldn't
and
have like a lot of practice talking to people.
and because the last time she talked was when she was like 9 years old,
When she got
she
stabbed.
yeah, like so
Damn it, Dante.
she wouldn't really have like the like be able to speak like an adult, right? She would
Yeah.
still be speaking like a child. So trying to convey that into her dialogue is like it
Mm-hmm.
was very difficult for me because she again like in early draft she was still speaking like a normal human person and I was like, well, she's technically not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
um because she'd just been living on her own. Like there's a chapter that I've been working on that's supposed to go in between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Um
Chapter
and it's
1.5.
yeah, 1.5, and there's no dialogue in it at all because it's
Oh,
just a day in her life where she's just roaming around the forest and hunting for food and flying about and being a dragon person.
fair
But
enough.
she doesn't talk at all because that's just not something that she's supposed to do on a normal basis. And it's a very interesting chapter because there's no dialogue at all.
Hmm.
Um yeah.
By the way, if you
So
guys see my character light up, that's mostly me just playing with these bottle caps.
yeah, I'm just eating. That's
Yeah.
why you see mine light up.
I don't know if they can even hear you're eating or even hear the bottle caps. It's just that the mics are picking it up.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like the dialogue is one of the trickiest parts, is because you want each character to sound different.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, I go back and I read a book and I'm like, genuinely, if the book didn't tell me who was talking, probably sometimes I would never even notice that there was a change in who it was. Because they all just kind of seem to talk alike. Unless the character has like a strong accent and the writer feels like they have to point that out every time.
And it also doesn't help that I fucking hate dialogue tags.
He talks excitedly.
I am dialogue tags biggest hater.
Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? He said calmly.
Like
Oh man.
seriously. Oh fuck, dialogue tags are the
It's like, if you're
worst.
gonna put a dialogue tag, at least use proper punctuation.
Like I'll use them occasionally, but most of the time I just don't.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you should only use them occasionally. Like,
Mhm.
I in the end, it's like, if you're saying it's like a character is crying, maybe do something to describe, like, I don't know. It's like, when I'm in third person omniscient, that's where it becomes like, where it's like I can just say, oh, they're crying. But I feel like
Mhm.
when I'm in closer to like third person limited or first person, I have to do other things to discern, because sometimes when you're crying, you don't always notice it.
That's
So
true.
it's very interesting to me. Like, when I'm describing these situations, I like to be very wordy,
Mhm.
or almost give no detail. Like, I remember a scene once where a character was so angry, but he didn't say anything. It wasn't until he walked away from what was going on that he realized that his knuckles were hurting him, and he realized he was clenching his fist, and now it just, like, it hurt. So it wasn't
Mhm.
until the situation was over that he even realized, oh shit, I was angry. Like, to me, it's like, that's just
Mhm.
an
Yeah.
interesting way to do it, because I don't think always having a visible sense where it's like you just say, oh, character is crying, or saying
Mhm.
hot tears pour down my face.
I do like the realization that they were feeling a specific emotion after the fact. I think
Yeah.
that's very cool.
It's kind of like a less is more thing where it's like
Mhm.
sometimes it's almost more impactful when the reader realizes what's going on at the same time as the character does.
Mhm. Yeah.
Whereas like if you're always describing it where it's like hot tears are pouring down his face, his knuckles are clenched, you know the character's angry, but it almost breaks the immersion in a way because it doesn't feel like you're really feeling things from the character's point of view.
Mhm.
Dialogue is also very important for this, and of course this is a thing, is like not all dialogue is with quotations. Sometimes internal monologues can be given through the details,
Mhm.
which is why I love scenes where it's like where I can just hash out very quickly the character's point of view by saying it's like, why did this happen, why exactly. You just kind of hear the why, the why, the why, the why.
Mhm.
And
Especially when it's
and it's so rushed and desperate that it feels
mhm.
like you get swept in the emotion.
What's it called? Ah, it's like train of thought, stream of thought, stream of something. Is
Yeah.
it stream of consciousness? Something like that.
I'm not sure the exact term, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, stream of consciousness. It's where you're doing like it's like where you're doing like a bunch of wild thoughts at once in a
Yeah.
character's head. It's a cool writing technique. I really like it.
Sorry, I was watching your character bounce without you saying anything, and it was just kind of funny.
Sorry, I'm finished eating. I'm done.
Yeah. But it's like it's so interesting to see different ways that you can use the details, different ways you can see the dialogue.
Yeah.
I will say balancing all of that together, because sometimes it's like I will spend 2.5 pages on just detail, no dialogue,
Yeah.
because the character's not doing anything. It's not that he's not doing anything; it's just he's taking in what's going on around him, and then I'll suddenly feel like, oh, I should have had dialogue, or
If it
some,
doesn't need dialogue, then you don't need dialogue.
or sometimes I'll have like multiple lines of dialogue, and suddenly I'll feel like, oh, this is too much dialogue. I should put detail. Uh, I suppose a
Yeah.
good example of this is exactly the confrontation between Jonah and Nicholas from the story. Is there when they're confronting each other? I always wanted to portray Jonah's confusion at the idea Nicholas is around, and they're having almost an idle chit chat where Nicholas is always asking, "Is like, how you been?" Like he didn't just come back from the dead for at all,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, well, I don't want it to be too idle, so it's like I would throw in lines like he circled him. Like he seems to be walking in a circle like a lion before pouncing or something.
Yeah, that's something I had to do as well with the confrontation between Ashra and Ash.
Yeah.
I realize there's a lot of A characters in my in my fucking series, but don't worry about it.
Don't
Um,
worry, I've definitely done that.
but it's definitely like where Ashura comes in and she six Kage on him, and then he like fucking rips her wings out of her fucking back.
Damn.
And then they're just standing there chatting, and I'm like, well, they should be doing something, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what could they be doing in this moment other than just sitting there chatting? And then like she says something to piss him off, and he fucking presses her up against the wall with his forearm pressed to her neck. You
Kinky.
know, it's kind of kinky considering they're married.
Hey, come on, not in front of the kid. But yeah, it's like that balance is probably the most difficult thing, and then it's just like you kind of realize you kind of just have to write it and see what happens.
Yeah. It's definitely like you want to have an idea, but also go with the flow at the same time.
Yeah. And I do say this, I hate the advice, just sit down and write. I really do.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because you definitely need to be in that zone.
Yeah. It's like, it's
What helps
accurate
me
advice. It very much is accurate advice. You sit down, you write, you practice writing, and that's how you
Yeah.
get better at writing and telling stories.
What helps me is, definitely music. When I'm listening to songs, sometimes
Yeah.
they just give me a flash of inspiration for a scene. So that's also part of my creative process. Music gives me some flashes of inspiration for a scene. Like I will see a scene play out in my head alongside the music.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely used to
And
listen to a lot of music, but then it created
yeah.
a problem where it was like suddenly I would just start getting fascinated with the music, and I'd be like, oh wait, I need to skip around and find that perfect song that I want to listen to get basically I would procrastinate and find anything I could.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like the chapter titles in A Tale of One Shadow are all named after the songs that inspired the chapter.
Star would like you to know this. She didn't inform me.
Hey, you guessed. You said, "Are they chapter titles or are they song titles?" And I said, "Yes, they are."
Yep. I had to guess. And the only reason I realized there was even something going on with her titles was because, first of all, I read her entire story on stream, which was funny.
Which is how we became friends.
Yeah, exactly. Because Star literally I remember just suddenly reading it because you kept asking me to read it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this as a stream.
I was like, "Hey, I'm a writer too. If you've got time, I've got my book up on AO3."
Yep.
And then he was like, all right, bet." And then I received a comment saying, "Hey, chat loved this. They can't wait for season 2." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yep.
And so I reacted to him reading my story on stream, and
Yep.
that's on my VOD
She has the
channel.
video.
It's on my VOD channel. Good times.
I will say I'm not the most prolific writer to where it's like I could be able to dissect someone else's work. I can if I do it scene by scene. But I need like a lot of foreknowledge, and there's a lot missing from the story.
My favorite part was when you were like, "All right, we're gonna write a review after every chapter," and then you didn't.
Yep. Because I was so excited to get to the next portion. I am easily entertained. I want to go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah, I can tell.
I am very easily entertained. And Star knows this because she knows that I actually like fairy tale. Look,
Couldn't even say that.
who, me?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like it. That's the thing, is that I do find it entertaining to watch, to just kind of watch the fights. As a written story, I very much disagree with some of the shit done.
God awful.
It's kind of funny that we're watching the anime when in reality that has nothing to do with Mashima other than the story concept. That is the animators putting their work into it. It would be much more accurate to read the manga.
Well, we can just read the manga on the side.
Hmm.
If you think I'm reading that trash garbage bitch thing again, I'm not.
Fine, we can read Dead Rock. Yeah, you agree though, that scene with the white and black dragon, that is actually like the most bullshit thing.
Yeah.
That is, and just so you know, you saw that's Acnologia, right?
Yeah.
That's Natsu. That's the Dead Rock Natsu.
Oh my god. Oh, I was trying to enjoy a boss fight, man.
To be fair, I put it with the spoiler tag.
Yeah, and you know that I'm gonna look at it.
I do know that you're gonna look at it. Neither Star nor I care about the spoiler tags. We go and look.
Yeah.
That's why, like, whenever I'm going to do a live, like, whenever I do the reactions to the HSR and Genshin live streams, I tell everybody, do not post anything. I do not care if it's on spoiler tags. Do not post it or you will be kicked from the Discord.
Yeah, I don't mind if it's like if you spoiler tag it, but if it's something like I don't care about or that I know, then I will look at it. But if it's something that I do like if that I am interested in, then I just won't look at it.
Yeah,
Like if you say like something spoiler and then spoiler tag it, then I won't look.
yeah.
Right.
I'm too.
But
I'm.
you just like dead ass. You're like, hey, Mashima's new work is pretty bad, so of course I'm gonna look at it.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck what are
Oh
you expecting?
man. True. Yeah, I definitely put it there because I knew it was a train crash for you, and I just knew you would look at it.
Yeah.
Because it is genuinely, I can laugh at it. It's like it's bad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's just the story structure. Again, I've already said this. I'm pretty sure they are doing exactly what I have said 100 Year Quest is doing, is that it's answering where the 10,000 dragons came from. Because we never got
But
that answer.
but why?
Well, because
Why do
we
we
never actually.
care?
What? Because I always cared about that. I could never figure it out. I was like, it didn't make any
I
sense for the
I
10,000
just thought
dragons to come from the Eclipse Gate.
yeah, I just thought they came from the Eclipse Gate.
No, that never made any sense because you got to realize that means someone opened the Eclipse Gate in the first place, but they only got the idea to open the gate because of Rogue time traveling. In the case of Lucy, they didn't seem to have the idea of doing that until after the dragon showed up in the first place. So
I hate time travel.
so it's like, logically speaking, the dragons could never have come from the Eclipse Gate in the first place.
Yeah,
Especially
but
because
like
Rogue stated that the whole reason he became like he did was the death of Frosh, which only happened after which would have happened like a year or so after the Grand Magic Games.
yeah, and that was supposed to be the Alvarez War or something.
Yep. Gotta love the time travel. So basically, it was like that was always the thing that always got me because I was like, this never made sense. So I think we're finally getting the answer of the dragons. The only thing I can't figure out is where the hell this black wizard came from. Like,
Look, I talked about it in our first episode.
yeah.
Fucking, if you don't know, if you don't give a shit about time travel and how it's supposed to work, don't put it in your fucking story, my god.
Oh man.
Do your fucking research before you decide to fuck up the time-space continuum in your
So this
fucking
should be the
story.
part where I don't mention the star that I once put time travel in one of my stories.
Hey, listen, I'm also putting time travel in my stories, okay? A twos has a fucking time loop in it. Get the fuck off my back.
Fair enough. Like this was you remember when I tried to do a magic school story, right?
Think?
It was
Mayhaps?
before, it was kind of before the Lucian stuff. It was
Okay.
like I was trying to do an isekai
Isekai. What is it with you and Bench and isekai stories?
because they're fun and they're easy to do because you don't really have to world build prior. You get to let the character exploration do the world building.
Yeah.
So I remember the idea is that the protagonist is already technically the result of a time travel expedition.
Oh
Because
boy.
basically speaking, there is a single locked event within like there are multiple locked events, really, but this one in particular is the death of his best friend. The character in pretty much any situation is all like discovers magic in some way.
Yeah.
So in the original timeline, the character who was a more heavily, it was weird because how do I put this? All right. So you have the character of the actual story that's being told goes on to learn about magic because a random bus driver found him and gave him a way to go to the magic school in another dimension. That's the isekai portion.
Yeah.
So he goes on to learn magic. But as a result of going on to learn magic in that fashion, his best friend ended up getting bullied because he was the odd one, and then eventually committed suicide. I'm not trying to downplay that. It was a very tragic moment, even for me writing it, because I was like, oh shit. I was really putting my character in the shoes. And the character had already been experimenting with time magic, but the thing about time magic is that usually what happens is... Hold on, sorry, someone's knocking on my door.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, so I don't like time travel in media. It sucks. I like it as a concept, but the way that it's executed in media is very bad. Um uh,
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, welcome back.
So the thing with time magic was always like, if you tried to reverse time on an object, typically that object would still meet the same fate later on. So a good example of this is if you broke a vase and you returned it to the previous point before it was broken, somehow, some way that vase is going to break again.
Yeah.
It's just it broke in a different way. So the character tries to go back in time to save his friend, but ends up shooting typically too far and ends up like kind of in the world, like much further on in the past, basically.
Yeah.
And some event of that ultimately alters everything else as they kind of know it. And the character eventually learns that the whole reason the bus driver found him in the first place was because another version of him had time traveled with magic prior. So the character is already a part of a separate branched timeline. There was another one who gained magic through some other different method, but that version would meet the bus driver, inspiring the bus driver to find the version that we've been reading about.
Oh, what if he was the bus driver?
Was not the bus driver.
Man.
The bus driver is someone completely different, but that would have been an interesting twist.
Yeah.
So that basically means the character basically creates another branch timeline that creates something different. Like, I think I even had the bus driver explain that the world changed, because the bus driver is kind of like Doctor Who in a way, or Dr. Paradox from Ben 10, lives kind of outside the flow of time, but also within it.
Like a Chad bus driver.
So he even says, in this world that you have now created, there is no you, or at least there is, but it's not you. And shows a picture of another character who is, like, each version kind of has their own specialty of magic. Like, the one we follow specializes in water magic. The previous one specialized in fire magic. This one specializes in wind magic, and she's awesome.
Oh.
So, to alter the timeline, so he's now a girl.
Oh. Gotta love it how that happens.
Yep. That one was kind of stupid, but I thought it was a nice chuckle. I was looking for a chuckle after such a serious thing.
Yeah, I mean, his mom ate too many veggies, and now he's a girl.
Is that like the old wives' tale or something?
It is, and it's a silly little thing they use in Steins Gate.
Okay.
to change a character's gender.
Wait a minute, are we talking about the one that is at the shrine?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave that alone. So yeah, we'll just go with that. The mom ate a little too many veggies in this timeline.
Too many veggies.
Were they great veggies?
They were indeed great vegetables.
Okay, so I think that more or less covers my topic. Do you have another topic? Or are you about done for the day?
I think I had one, but I forgot. Ah, shit.
Dang. You have to have 2 topics for the podcast.
Hold on, I'll remember.
Oh wait, hold on. Technically, you did have 2. You did 2. Didn't you?
I think.
The favorite character, and then it was.
First story.
Yeah, it was the first. So yeah, we've done 4 total topics.
Okay.
So I guess that means like if we wanted to, we could cut off here.
We could do that. Hold on a minute. I thought I had one, but I think I forgot.
No!
It's gone now.
No! Genuinely though, this is always really fun. I love talking about writing. I do feel like the both of us probably could go for hours more if we weren't trying to like at least keep these podcasts from being like 8 hours long.
Yeah, the stream is already 8.5 hours. Let's go for another.
Yeah, let's do it. Can we talk about how crazy, like, the fact that I'm 3 days in of 8-hour streams? What the fuck am I doing?
Are you playing more Persona 4 tomorrow?
Probably.
Oh, let's fucking go, man.
Probably also gonna be a bit more Star Rail. I'm thinking about doing some more some FGO to also do some people in the podcast probably don't know this, but I do like to do some amateur voice acting. I'm bad at the acting part. That's the part I gotta work on.
What gives you... No, I don't think inspiration is a really good one. Cause like, I mean, I talked about it. Music and
Yeah,
dreams is where
I won't
get
lie.
my
It's like I'll say
stuff.
sometimes I'm just inspired by a random event that happens or like a random book I'll pick up and I'll be like, oh, this seems interesting, but I feel like I could do this better.
I'm
can't-
also inspired by random events that happen. Like
I can't actually say I
my
would do them better because that feels condescending, very arrogant, but just mean like I feel like I could do that if I did this in this way. This is what I would like.
What inspires me is that there are successful authors that are worse at writing than I am.
Oh, Heavy Robot's got a topic for us. We should
All
really
right,
think
give
about
us...
opening up a Q&A session.
Oh, we should, yeah. Don't mind me, I'm kicking my plate.
I also feel like if we were willing to do the homework thing like we were joking earlier, it would really open up a lot to like we could like watch more anime.
Yeah.
And we could have general discussions about like what episodes we watched that week.
That
would be the Weebs portions.
I actually had a topic for next week's podcast, if you're interested in hearing it.
Sure.
We talk about our favorite and least favorite animes.
Ooh, yeah, we got to cover the Weebs part of this discussions. I'm gonna love it. I can't wait to hear Star Trash Fairy Tale.
Yeah, for 4 hours straight, I'm doing it.
Is it illegal for the final battle in any story to be overpowered?
Like
the protag or the villain?
Yeah, you gotta be more specific. Like, the protag getting a insane power-up is just a generic trope that is not illegal, but kind of annoying. At least in my humble opinion.
I think he means more like, okay,
The villain being overpowered is also, like... I guess it's, like, supposed to be that way? Villain? Yeah, okay.
Heavy Robot, are we talking about Madara Uchiha from Naruto? The guy who was so overpowered, they killed him off. Like, not even joking, because I don't know, Star, you're not a fan of Naruto. So I can say this without too much. Yep. Spoilers to those of you guys watching on YouTube. In Madara Uchiha, most hyped up villain throughout the entire show, when he finally did show up, he was the most powerful villain the series has ever produced. He was killing everybody left and right. They kept giving him power up after power up after power up, and he just kept getting better and better and better. Finally, the way they beat him is that they didn't beat him. They had his ally betray him, an ally who, by the way, as far as we could tell, had no consequence in the story whatsoever. They kill him off and then replace him with a supposedly stronger villain, but then that villain gets beaten. Like,
I don't think it's illegal to have a final villain be overpowered, because if they're like that strong, then it just makes for an interesting conflict that the hero has to become stronger to defeat this overpowered villain, and when we get to that point, it's a bigger triumph for the heroes.
Here's the thing, I got no problem with overpowered characters at all. Like, I love Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. That dude is a riot. The thing about making an overpowered villain is that you still need to make them beatable. Like, the thing about
have the story end where they win.
yeah, okay, that's good too. But like, how do I put this? Okay, in the case of Mamoru Uchiha, his problem wasn't that he was wasn't even that he was stronger than Kaguya, and this is kind of the thing. Is like, she was stronger technically, but Madara had the years of training and much more conducive knowledge of ninjutsu that made him pretty much impossible to beat. And then they gave him like super regeneration for some reason. They made like the most skilled and most powerful, like it's I don't even know. They just gave him super regeneration for some freaking reason. It's like basically he became unkillable. So then they killed him.
Or it's bad writing if done bad, if the villain is not beatable in a believable way.
That is also true. It's
that
like
is also true.
The victory has to be believable. Like, Naruto's writing used to be really good. Most people agree the writing went downhill after the Pain arc because it seemed like it stopped being focused on any one thing. It was just constantly throwing bigger bad after bigger bad, more power up after power up, and it just wasn't fun.
What about killing the main character? Okay, so this is something I can tackle.
I can tackle it too. I killed off Jonah. He was a main character.
Oh my god, how could you do that?
Look, I don't like it either. I have tried writing stories where he lives. It doesn't work.
Yeah, okay. I have a story where one of my main characters dies.
It's like, killing off a main character can be really good as long as you're not doing it for something stupid like shock value.
Yeah. What? I didn't get to that part. The fuck, Fox?
Star and I are spoiling both of our own stories at this point, so it's like, and I'm not even sure
I'm not spoiling. I'm not spoiling who dies. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Sure, but the thing about killing off a main character is that it needs to be essential to the other character's story. Yeah, how they develop.
It definitely needs to have an impact to the story, and it can't just be, oh, they're dead. Well, let's just move on.
Yep.
Like, it has to impact the story and the characters in some way.
A good example of this.
That was the fucking protagonist, you know?
Yeah. A good example of this is like, okay, killing off your main character, if you're going to do it though, you need to have had probably other main characters.
Yeah.
Because it means when that character dies, either that is 100% the end of your story, or someone else is picking it up. Because if your main character dies, that's the end.
Yep.
Like,
you can either have it be the end of the story, like in one of mine, or have another character pick up the mantle, like in another one of mine.
Yeah. Like, a very good example of this is probably, Star won't get this one, Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. One of the main characters of the book.
I have an example, but I don't want to spoil it, so I can't talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm using an example people are more likely to know. And there are several main characters. You have his entire family are the main characters. And him dying is an incredibly traumatic situation because his daughters are actually forced to watch as he's beheaded.
I have another example, but I don't want to spoil, so I can't talk about it.
And
God fucking damn it!
And you kind of see how fucked up they get from it. His eldest son is forced to step up as a leader in response to his father's death. So it's like, that's another thing, is the death needs to play a part. If the story continues after death, then that death needs to actually play a part. Yeah,
so like the death needs to mean something. You can't just do it for shock value. If it's the end of the story, then it's the end of the story. Yep. It still needs to mean something. If it's the middle of the story, then it has to have another character become the main character and pick up the mantle where the dead protagonist left off.
Yep. I keep wanting to say it's like, I wish we could use Fairy Tail as an example, but no one dies.
Nobody fucking died.
Seriously, Makarov should have kicked the bucket. I'm
like 3
so
times.
I'm actually that's the one fake out death I'm actually like really pissed about. Because it's like
Um,
they really like they had the whole Urza stepping in between Natsu and Gray.
but yeah,
Oh,
I've had many a deaths in my works that haven't even been finished yet.
I'm trying to avoid using examples from our own stories, mostly because it's like people wouldn't quite
Yeah,
understand them.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I have 2 that end in deaths, and I have 1 that has a death near the beginning of the
Wow,
protagonist,
only
and
2 or 3 deaths?
yeah,
You're
I
going
mean,
easy on
well,
these guys.
that's protagonists, though, that's protagonists.
Oh, slaughters the rest of the planet. Got it.
No, like, Ashura's mom was the protagonist until she dies, and then that torch is passed on to Ashura, who becomes the next protagonist of the
Yeah.
story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that one. Again, I haven't really come up with any big plot lines for the space adventures
Yeah.
or the time travel one. I guess Estelle's wife dying could be considered a main character death.
Well, it's a death
Um,
that definitely affected the character, but if the Estelle's
yeah,
wife doesn't really get introduced, or
she does. She does get introduced. She does indeed get introduced because I have the scene. They
but is
were
she
in the
but
middle
is
of
she
a
really a main character, or is she more like a character that supports the story of Estelle?
she is indeed a main character because Estelle goes back in time to save her, and we end up seeing their relationship develop back when they were teenagers.
But that's not
But
necessarily a main character. That's why I'm saying it
that
sounds.
that's true. That is very true. Um,
It's kind of
I
like
definitely
how to
I
use an
definitely
example
want her to
here.
be one.
Okay,
So
here's a good example to do comparison. Is you're gonna hate me for this. In Fairy Tale, you have all the members of Fairy Tale. The guild itself is supposed to be like the main characters you're looking at, but you obviously have these characters that, while important to everything that's going on, they're not really in the front spotlight.
okay. Um,
That just made it worse. I guess a good example is like Gagio, technically a main character, but not actually a main character.
yeah. I mean,
He's more like someone who supports Natsu's story whenever they want to throw him in there.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I particularly see Evelyn that way, but I guess we'll see when I actually get around to writing it in 26
Yeah.
years.
We were talking about killing
Um,
off protagonists, right? We were still talking about
yeah.
that because
Yeah, yeah.
I remember I had a certain other thoughts about it.
And then the A Tale of One Shadow spinoff, one of the protagonists is already dead when the story starts. How's that? Cuz he's a ghost.
Hmm. That's not really killing off the main character if he's already dead.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Like, there's a difference between having a dead main character, because like there are plenty of stories where a main character is a ghost. Very good example is Anna Dressed in Blood. Ooh, I love that book.
I have not read that.
So it's the story of a ghost hunter and a ghost girl.
Ooh.
Very interesting read, actually. We read it for Halloween once, and I was like, oh my god, I love this.
Did I ever tell you about the A Tale of One Shadow spinoff? Oh my god.
Which one?
It's the only one I've been calling a spinoff. It's god. It's it's an alternate universe where the world fucking dies.
Wait, is that the
Um,
one with the girl that is like how do I explain this?
she's
College
like a
students. One was bullied by like the girl was bullied by the guy or something. One's
uh
reincarnated. Yada
yeah,
yada.
yeah, reincarnated. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you have told me about that one.
Yeah.
It's been about a
It's
year.
yeah, so
A
and this
Tale of
one
One
came this
spinoff.
one A Tale of One spinoff, yeah. So this one actually came to me due to fucking events that were happening in the world, right?
Uh huh.
And it's only one thing that the main character does because he was an absolute moron. And it's that he's a ghost because he died by eating a Tide Pod.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this now.
I
Much
have a I
more.
have a I have a character who canonically ate a Tide Pod. What a
Yeah.
fucking Giga Chad.
Giga Chad is not the word I would use to describe this character. Giga Idiot is
Uh,
perhaps more accurate.
oh, mega idiot, for real, for real.
Ugh. I never understood the Tide Pod thing.
I also didn't get it, but I still
It,
meme on it to this day. We'll be
it's
walking
like,
through the
do you
grocery store
real?
and I'll see Tide Pods and I'll be like, the forbidden fruit.
I'm just like, why were you doing? Like, someone's like, oh, well, it's just kind of a dare thing. And it's like, dude, like, the people who literally tell me is like, if I dared you to jump off of a bridge, would you do it? And they say yes. I'd be like, you dumbass motherfucker.
Oh, my favorite is when your parents are scolding you for doing something that your friends were doing, and they're like, "If your friend jumped off a bridge, would you do it?" And and I always said, "Yeah."
I know. I'd probably say no. I would look at them like they were stupid.
No, because if you jump off the bridge after all your other friends jump off the bridge, then you'd have a safe, cushiony landing.
Damn. Or the real smart ass answer is how tall is the bridge?
Yeah, how tall is the bridge? I always imagine something small, like over a little river.
I always imagine like the big bridges,
I don't
like
like those.
50 or 60 feet up from the water. I might be underestimating feet, but my point is like the really tall
Yeah.
bridges.
The really tall bridges.
Yeah. Like kind of almost the thing you would see like where like small casino ships.
Mm-hmm.
That might just be a thing in Louisiana because we have those. Like we have some casinos that own boats, and you can go on those boats, and they kind of take you underneath a bridge. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, still talking about character deaths and whether or not killing them off is basically speaking. I love that if a writer has the guts to kill off a main character, that's amazing. Because
and make a bunch of friends, make them jump off a cliff, do it enough times to make a bridge of corpses.
damn,
Yeah, how'd you know?
because like if you're going to do it, you need to do it well, and that's kind of the hard part. Is like if you are just going to kill off a character and it means nothing to the story, that is going to be bad. Like let's say it's like if I could read the story and I like say that if this character was still alive, it would still go about this pathway.
Yeah,
That would suck.
when I came up with the ending for A Tale of One Shadow, I could not think of a better ending for it, and it's been my ending for years, and getting there is the problem, but once I get
Yep.
there, I'm just hoping I can pull it off well.
Mm-hmm. That's
'Cause, like,
always gonna be a
yeah.
thing. Endings.
And like everyone's all it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But
No,
like
it's about the destination.
for me as a writer, it's 100% about the destination.
Here's the thing. If you want it to be about the journey, that's a manga.
Yeah.
Because that is a weekly serialization that you have to write the story for every week until finally everyone's like, oh, I don't like this anymore. And they're finally willing to let you free. Then that's when the story is about the journey.
Yeah. I mean, even with weekly mangas, like I'm reading Spy Family and I'm still looking forward to how it's going to end cuz I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to end. I'm enjoying it while it lasts, but
Can
like
I hope that it ends with Lloyd, Yor, and Anya being a happy family?
me, yeah, I want that as well.
And of course, just completely ignore the fanfic to the side where Yor is also pregnant at the end of the story, so Anya's gonna have a little sibling.
Yeah.
Oh, I recently found a fanfic that I'm like, this is totally up Star's alley. It's about it's like kind of an after story where it's like everything's ended, but Lloyd has developed amnesia, so he still thinks he's a spy.
Oh.
Like he retired, but now he's got amnesia, doesn't remember Anya or Yor.
Oh.
And like the whole
that
story
sounds
is
like
him
good shit.
having to adapt, and also you're having to figure out how to get her husband back.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good.
Then
Oh,
I
that sounds
immediately
good.
found a story where Yor nearly killed Lloyd.
Oh, yeah, that's also good. It's about
Uh,
the angst.
yeah, it really is. It's like, because Spy Family is such a wholesome story. Like, it's such a sweet story for all the action it gives. So it's like when you read the direct opposite, it feels like this is so good for no reason.
Nah, if you've seen where the manga is heading, like, holy moly, dude.
I have not.
We're getting into some territory.
Ooh. I need to read the manga, but then I'm always worried that I'm gonna read the manga and then I won't want to watch the anime. That's what
That is
happened with
also fair.
That's what happened with Frieren, where it's like the pacing of the anime for Frieren is so like I appreciate the slow build, but there's a very massive difference where it kind of feels like the anime stretches what is already a slow story even slower. Whereas the manga, I do feel like it's still kind of that slow story, but it's, you know, it's kind of better paced. In some moments though, as I'm watching it, I'm like, I appreciate the anime's tempo, because sometimes it feels like they didn't put enough into a specific chapter or a specific story.
Yeah.
Which, again, I feel like most manga is this. I legitimately think that manga should be like a part of your contract should state that you are allowed to end the story at your leisure.
Yeah.
Like, obviously,
I definitely agree.
There should definitely be a minimum, of course, like being like, okay, if you want to tell me that I may need to maintain this story for like a year, because that's still 50 chapters. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I should be allowed to say that the story ends at maybe 200 chapters.
Yeah.
Because genuinely speaking, the fact is like, you know, manga should be allowed to reach an endpoint. If you continue stretching a story, it doesn't feel good. Dragon Ball discovered this when it went with the Majin Buu saga, because there were definitely rumors that it was going to end with Cell. I don't know if that's actually true.
FT.
I have heard that Fairy Tail was supposed to end after the battle with Loxus.
It was, and it should have.
It really should have, because that fight with Loxus was great. That was great. Say what you want. Look at it. Say, like, we can both say what we want about it, but it's like, up to that point, I 100% love the anime.
Yeah, it was good. There were some problems.
I think the Tenro Island arc was kind of the beginning of the decline, where it's like, oh, this really isn't as good.
It was Edelus.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest, I wiped Edelus from my mind.
Oh, I wish I could do the same, man. Holy shit.
I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Because I immediately went from the battle with Loxus. I remember the Erasion Seis arc, which was...
You just forgot the whole series, didn't you?
No, I remember Erasion Seis. I kind of like that one, but it's not really as good. Like, the introduction of Wendy is cool. The idea that we're getting another Dragon Slayer, that was fun. Another version of Happy. So it kind of makes you wonder, where did Happy really come from? Which sets up for the Edelus arc, but the Edelus arc is...
Ugh. It's dog shit. It's so bad.
And then, let's see. Then we got Tenro Island. I think one of the problems, really, is that after Erasion Seis...
the Daphne arc?
That was filler. That was filler. Don't even try to trick me. Don't even try that shit with me. I know that's filler. Because that was just like the Edelus arc repeated.
Oh my god, why do I remember that shit?
I don't know. Like, it was the whole capture a Dragon Slayer to power a fake dragon. What did they do at the end of Edelus? They captured the Dragon Slayers, drained them of their magic to build a fake dragon.
Had a banging opening though. I love Rock City Boy.
Oh my god, yeah, that thing is amazing.
The only thing I like is the fucking openings, like 3 of them.
I like damn it, I'm so bad with names. Is it It's
Masayuma chasing.
yes.
Masayume chasing.
Snow Fairy's a classic, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
No, I
Rock
like.
City Boy though.
I like Strike Back. I like Rock City Boy. I like
Strike Back is also my
opening
favorite.
9. I forgot the name.
Can I get a name?
Tawa no Kizuna. That's the name.
Okay.
I loved playing that on Osu, man. That was fun.
So for me, it's Masayume Chasing, Rock City Boy, and Strike Back. Those are my 3 favorites.
My dad's favorite was Mysterious Magic.
Trying to remember that one.
Nobody can stop you. Whoa, whoa, Mysterious Magic. Oh,
can't remember shit. But
well,
yeah,
lucky you.
Edalus just really wasn't that interesting because it kind of felt like it didn't really do anything.
We can talk about Edalus next week, all right?
Maybe. Oh, they come back, by the way, in the 100-year quest.
Oh my.
Well, I told you that. Remember I told you about Jalal and other Urza having the baby that they named after Urza's mother?
Right.
And then there's also, literally, it was a fan service chapter written just to show everybody, here's what happens when these characters pair up. Like, we got to see Juvia and Gray's kid, which is just Gray with curly hair. Natsu and Lucy's kid. Which Natsu tried to take with him. It's Natsu. Did you expect any different?
You know what? That's fucking fair.
I don't know about Gaju and Levi, though.
Was her name Nashi?
Yes.
Oh, let's fucking go.
To be fair, that is something that Mashima said would be her name in an interview.
I know. And then he finally drew them after the fucking series ended and nothing became canon. And now they are canon, I guess. Wow, thanks, Mashima. You're the worst.
The thing is, that makes it really stupid, is that it like that follows after the chapters where they already did a thing where they met this entertainment guild, which is just all of the fairy tale guild, but still in Earthland. Like, you had Urza, who is a, I don't know, she's like a publicist? No, Lucy is the one who's a publicist, and Natsu is an actor. And then let me think. Gray and Juvia, who are both... I don't remember if this was actually their job, but it was like Gray's a stripper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It turns out they were joking, though. They were just messing with the other Urza.
Definitely... No. That's something that normal Gray would be.
Yeah. I just gotta say, it's just... I'm now just stuck on like, alright, when did Fairy Tail start getting good again?
It didn't.
I think the Magic games is where it started like really picking up. I liked it.
Yeah, the Grand Magic games were fine, and then
just to clarify, I do not count the time travel shenanigans as a part of the Grand Magic games.
Listen, the Grand Magic games were fine until they brought time travel into it, alright?
Time travel was always a part of the story. It started 400 years ago.
Fuck you. Ugh, fuck you, Mashima.
I'm just like...
Fuck you, Mashima. Like, ugh.
I will say, though, things that... I don't want to do the fairy tale discussion really anymore, because it's like... I want to talk about the stuff that I wish Mashima would do, but I could do that when we're actually watching Fairy Tail.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're probably never going to get to do. Which is almost like why I'm like, okay, me and you, we're going to have homework. We both have to watch a couple episodes of Fairy Tail and come back with our talking points on Friday.
I mean, if you give me like 10 minutes to do the dishes, we can do that today.
I've been streaming for 9 hours. I'm tired.
Okay, well, if you don't want to do it today, we can do it
Why
next
are you trying to make it sound like you actually want to do it?
I don't know, because I don't want to watch it on my own.
Fair enough.
And what are the odds I get Bench to sit down and watch it with me? Why would I do that to him?
Well, to be fair, Bench volunteered for it.
Oh, Bench, no. Why would you do that to yourself?
Because he wants to watch you suffer.
Oh, that would do it, actually. But then he has to add it to his list. And That's the real tragedy.
Maybe for him, that's a reasonable sacrifice.
Oh,
In any case,
man.
guys, this has been Riders and Weebs, Weebs and Riders, whatever the hell you want to call this
Riders
thing.
and Weebs.
Yes. I said Riders and Weebs.
Yeah. Well, today we talked about writing, and next week we talk about Weebs.
Yes. What are we doing next week?
Favorite and least favorite anime.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. Oh, dang. I was almost like, maybe we should do a tier list. And then I'm like, that would be way too many anime to discuss.
Yeah. I also like haven't
I would
seen
have
a bunch of shit on my list in like years, so let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our favorite and least favorite anime.
Yeah, we'll stick with that. In any case, guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate the support. This is gonna be a nightmare to go through and edit.